Chapter 128. I'm fine. Although Qin Chu said so, his face was very pale. As a medical staff member, Huang Min could tell at a glance that he was not feeling well. Qin Chu, tell me, where are you feeling unwell? Huang Min was very anxious. He was fine just now. Why did he suddenly become like this? It hurts a little here, Qin Chu said slowly as he pointed at his abdomen. Huang Min looked at the position and touched it with his finger. It shouldn't be appendicitis. This isn't the position of the appendix. No, we can't delay. Let's go to the hospital now. No, it's not a big deal. No, you have to listen to me. Huang Min was angry. Qin Chu was a medical doctor from a top international university. It was unreasonable for him to insist that he was not feeling well. It's just enteritis. It's not a big deal. In the end, Qin Chu told him the truth. Huang Min was slightly stunned. Enteritis? How can there be enteritis? Oh right, we just had seafood. Oh my god, you can't eat seafood? Huang Min looked at Qin Chu with wide eyes and a face full of disbelief. Qin Chu did not say anything, but this meant that he admitted it. However, Huang Min clearly remembered that 7 years ago, when the two of them were together, Huang Min loved to eat seafood, so Qin Chu often accompanied her to eat seafood. At that time, she did not notice anything. Could it be that he had been hiding it all this time? Why didn't you say that you can't eat seafood? Huang Min looked at Qin Chu and asked sternly. Because you like to eat it, Qin Chu replied slowly. Huang Min was even angrier after hearing this. What kind of bullshit answer was this? Did he have to risk his health just because she liked to eat seafood? I'm willing to eat arsenic. Do you want some? Huang Min said angrily. That works too. Damn it. Qin Chu, you idiot. Get up and go to the hospital. Without another word, Huang Min reached out to grab Qin Chu's arm. This was the first time Huang Min had cursed since they had reunited 7 years ago. Not only was Qin Chu not angry, he even laughed, because this was the real Huang Min from 7 years ago. Let's go to the hospital. Hurry up. Huang Min couldn't take it anymore. Qin Chu looked at her red face with amusement and pulled the corners of his mouth. I'm a doctor and you're a nurse. We have 2 medical staff in our family. Why do you need to go to the hospital? You'll be fine after taking some medicine. No, don't try to fool me. Acute enteritis is very serious. If you don't treat it in time, you'll become dehydrated. You'll need an injection. There's backup medicine at home. Myung, give me the injection. Qin Chu stared at Huang Min with endless gentleness in his eyes. There's medicine at home? Where is it? Only then did Huang Min let go of Qin Chu's arm and stand up. There's a first aid kit under the cabinet in the living room. The 4-tube is also in there. Huang Min immediately ran over and took out the first aid kit. He opened it and saw that it was indeed complete. There were even daily medications and an 4-tube. Why did you prepare these? This is the first time I've seen someone prepare an 4-tube. Huang Min was speechless. Because I want to eat seafood with you a few more times, Qin Chu answered nonchalantly. Huang Min's heart ached when he heard this. Just because he loved seafood, Qin Chu stupidly prepared medicine and an 4-tube to treat enteritis. After eating with her, he would secretly give her an injection? He was really risking his life to accompany her. When Huang Min gave Qin Chu the injection, her face was dark from beginning to end. There was not a trace of a smile on her face. She felt extremely depressed, indescribably depressed. After the injection, Huang Min checked the flow of the 4-tube. After everything was normal, she got up and took a pillow, placing it behind Qin Chu. Qin Chu was flattered that Huang Min took care of him personally. He was like a child, his eyes filled with surprise and happiness. Qin Chu, let me ask you, why didn't you tell me earlier that you can't eat seafood? Huang Min stared into Qin Chu's eyes as if she was interrogating a criminal and asked angrily. Because after being with you, I'm used to it. Used to what? Used to giving yourself an injection after eating seafood? Qin Chu nodded. Huang Min reached out and pinched Qin Chu's devilish face. She scolded, You big idiot. I'm an idiot and you're a genius. We're a perfect match. Qin Chu smiled. However, Huang Min's eyes were red. Why are you crying? Seeing Huang Min cry, Qin Chu began to panic. Chapter 129. I'm fine. Huamin choked on her tears and turned her head away. Qin Chu lovingly raised his arm to wipe away her tears, but Huamin immediately grabbed his hand and put it down. Don't move, your blood will recover. Qin Chu smiled slightly and didn't say anything else. All right, did you change shifts for GK's employees? Huamin suddenly remembered. Really? Huamin questioned. You can see for yourself if you don't believe me. Qin Chu took out his phone, pulled up the company's surveillance footage, and showed it to Huamin. Sure enough, the employees went to work as usual. Huamin was relieved. You should rest at home today, don't go to the company. It's okay, I'll go after the fight. No, you can't go even after the fight. Rest at home, Huamin ordered forcefully. Will you stay with me? Qin Chu asked. Huamin was a bit embarrassed, so he didn't directly answer, but he didn't refuse either. After a while, Huamin slowly said, I'm working the night shift today, so I'll be home all day. Tell me what you want to eat and I'll make it. Can I eat whatever I want? Qin Chu tilted his head and stared at Huamin, his eyes shining with a golden light. Huamin knew that this guy was up to no good again. As expected, Qin Chu asked, Can I eat you? Huamin immediately refused. Qin Chu was slightly disappointed. He looked down at the 4 in his hand and didn't say anything else. Seeing how wronged he looked, Huamin felt bad and comforted him. I'll make you some vegetable porridge, you can't eat greasy food with enteritis. So you're saying that I can't eat you because you're too greasy? Qin Chu looked up and asked mischievously. Huamin was immediately furious. Do you want to die? I'm not greasy. Yes, you're fat but not greasy. Huamin was furious. If this guy wasn't sick, she really wanted to throw him out the window. Although it was the 16th floor, she couldn't care less. Of course, the immature side of Qin Chu's personality was exactly the same as he was 7 years ago. Not only was he evil, but he was also sharp-tongued. Back then, they had quarreled and quarreled non-stop. In the end, they inexplicably quarreled with each other. Whenever she reminisced about this relationship's deep, she would have many beautiful moments. If it weren't for those external factors, Huamin felt that meeting Qin Chu would be the most beautiful moment of her life. Unfortunately, the tragedy that followed. After Huamin finished cooking the porridge and served it to Qin Chu, she received a phone call. After hanging up the phone, Huamin's expression subtly changed. As smart as Qin Chu was, he knew what was going on. Was that a call from the hospital? Qin Chu asked. Huamin nodded. 2 pregnant women suddenly came in. The hospital is understaffed, and the nurses from other departments don't have any experience in midwifery, so... She paused. Go ahead. But your body? I'm a doctor of medicine. Forget enteritis, I can even perform a C-section on my own. Huamin burst out laughing upon hearing this. Then I'll go to the hospital first. I won't be back until tomorrow morning. Rest well, don't fall asleep. Watch the 4. After changing, Huamin hurried out the door. Qin Chu was alone at home on his 4. He took out his phone and began to deal with the company's emails. GK headquarters, Lady Qin missed her son and couldn't wait any longer. She drove to GK headquarters. However, she found that Qin Chu wasn't at the company. Where's my son? She asked with a dark expression. President Qin didn't come today, but he told me to call him if anything happened, Assistant Yang said carefully. Where does he live? Take me there. Chapter 130. Madam, I'll give President Qin a call first. Please wait a moment. Yang learned his lesson and didn't directly tell the old lady the address of President Qin's new home. He couldn't afford to be blamed by his boss. After hanging up, Yang smiled and said, Madam, President Qin said he'll be here in half an hour and asked you to wait in the office. Lady Qin didn't say anything, but she looked unhappy. After the last fight with his father, Qin Chu didn't show up and didn't talk to them. Qin Yuman was stubborn and thought his son was stubborn, so he went on a business trip to the southern branch office and wasn't in the city. Lady Qin missed her son so much that she came to the company to look for him. After Qin Chu picked up the phone, he pulled out the 4 and drove to the company. Mom, you're looking for me? Qin Chu walked into the office. took off his jacket, and sat on the office chair. Son, where have you been? Why aren't you in the company? I went out to discuss something, Xianxia said casually. You don't look well. Are you not feeling well? His mother always paid attention to details. Yes, I've been busy recently. I told you not to tire yourself out. You can leave those tedious things to your subordinates. I really feel sorry for you. Mom, why are you looking for me? Nothing. I just missed you, so I came to see you. Xianxia nodded and didn't say anything. He picked up the documents on the table and started to review them. Son, the president of Tiantong Group will be celebrating his 60th birthday soon. Are you? I don't have time. You and Dad can go to these kinds of business events. Xianxia didn't wait for his mother to finish and directly refused. Lady Qin sighed slightly. Son, you're not young anymore. You can't always be busy with work. It's time for you to get a girlfriend. Even if you don't get married, it's good to have a relationship first. Your dad and I are getting old. We really want to have grandchildren soon. I know. Xianxia's answer was obviously perfunctory. But there are already rumors spreading outside. Look at our family status. How can we let those clowns talk about us? What did they say about me? Xianxia put down the document in his hand and looked up curiously. Sigh, it's unpleasant to hear. Anyway, hurry up and find a girlfriend. Mom won't worry about it. Even if it's not a good match, even if it's just an ordinary girl, Mom doesn't have too many requirements for you now. As long as it's a girl, it's fine. Lady Qin's heart almost broke when she thought about the rumor that GK's young master might be gay. Can anyone? Xianxia asked. Yes, as long as it's a girl. Of course, there's also Huamin. Xianxia's eyes darkened and he turned his head away. I'll handle my own matters. If you're not busy now, have a meal with Mom. Mom, I'm busy right now. Maybe another day. Xianxia felt slightly uncomfortable when he heard that his mother still cared about Huamin after all these years. He didn't even give his mother a chance to eat. Seeing that her son was busy, Lady Qin didn't dare to say more and got up to leave. When she came out, she ran into Jiang Linyue, who was delivering documents on the top floor. Because of what happened before, Jiang Linyue didn't dare to enter the president's office. Instead, she handed the documents directly to the secretary's office or to Assistant Yang. Madam, you're here. Jiang Linyue smiled elegantly. Before Xianxia came back to China, Lady Qin was also the CFO of GK. Therefore, Jiang Linyue was no stranger to her. Madam, if you're not busy, why don't you come over to my place? Ever since you left your position, I haven't been able to see you. I miss you a lot. Let's go. Lady Qin liked this sweet-talking girl. She knew that Jiang Linyue was a highly educated person who came back from abroad. She was smooth and talented, so she naturally liked her. Xianxia was busy looking at reports in his office when Huamin called him. Mian, are you done with the 4? Where are you? I'm at home. Really? Then let's do a video call. After speaking, Huamin quickly hung up. Huamin sent him another video call. Xianxia had no choice but to reject the call. Then, he sent a voice message. The company has cut off the internet today. I can't connect to the Wi-Fi, and my phone is out of data. Huamin was furious when she saw this. She could understand if the company had cut off the internet, but she didn't believe that his phone was out of data. Did he look like someone who was afraid of wasting data? What a joke. Xianxia, are you challenging my intelligence? Huamin sent a voice message. Chapter 131. I wouldn't dare. Xianxia never thought about challenging Huamin's 130 IQ. Then why didn't you accept the video call? Huamin was furious. Mian, I'm at the company, not at home. My mom came to the company and wants to see me. You don't want them to know about us, so I can't let her go to our new home, Xianxia explained patiently. Oh. After replying with a single word, Huamin didn't say anything else. Obviously, she didn't like Xianxia's mother, who was the culprit behind Uncle Jing's death. Huamin put his phone in his pocket. Since Xianxia was fine, she didn't have to worry about him anymore, right? What was there to worry about? Didn't she say that she didn't love him anymore? She cared about him purely because he got enteritis from eating seafood with her. Yes, that was it. Huamin thought to himself. That night, while eating dinner at the hospital cafeteria, he vaguely heard someone say that man had resigned. Apparently, Wu Xiaoxue couldn't tolerate her working at the ophthalmology department and couldn't let her spend time with Ning Ziyuan. Therefore, she found an excuse and transferred her to work at the morgue. Man knew how difficult it was and immediately quit. Apparently, before she left, she made a scene at the ophthalmology department, which made Ning Ziyuan feel very embarrassed. Man was a woman who wanted to stir up trouble. Originally, she wanted to force Huamin to leave. However, Huamin didn't leave, but man herself. She really shot herself in the foot. Now that man is gone, it'll be peaceful. That's right, so that you won't find trouble with me. I heard that man was pregnant too. She wanted to threaten Ning Ziyuan into marrying her, but Dr. Wu was pregnant too. Ning Ziyuan knew who to pick, so he tricked man into drinking abortion medicine. He tortured her so much that she didn't dare to come to our department for emergency treatment. I heard that man got a curettage done at a private gynecology hospital nearby. After committing so many crimes, she was dumped in the end. If I were man, I wouldn't be happy either. I would have made a scene too. When Huamin heard this, his heart ached a little. He truly felt that women did not have it easy. Why would a woman make things difficult for another woman? Man's current fate was truly too tragic to look at. I didn't know Ning Ziyuan was such a scumbag in the past. He's been with you for so long and treats you very well. Maybe he's just playing around with man. How pitiful. Huang Yu sighed. Huamin did not say anything else. After all, it was someone else's business. Mian, you have to be careful from now on. I'm afraid that Professor Wu's next target will be you, Huang Yu reminded her quietly. It's fine, I'll just resign. There are so many hospitals around, I can always find another one. But I heard that Wu Xiaoxue is quite capable. She put out a ban on all the major hospitals and told them not to hire man. Man is man, and I am me. I'm not afraid of her, Huamin slowly said as he put down his chopsticks and lost his appetite. After dinner, she and Huang Yu went to the consultation room to do ward rounds. He was busy all the way until 11 o'clock at night before he stopped for a while. Mian, I'm going to sleep for a bit. Can you keep an eye on her for me? Okay, go to sleep. I'll keep an eye on her. Huamin nodded. Just then she heard a commotion in the hallway. Huamin opened the door and was shocked. A man ran over with a pregnant woman in his arms. He kept yelling, "Help! Doctor, where are the doctors? Someone, please save my wife." Huamin saw that the pregnant woman had already fainted. Her lower body was covered in blood and her dark blue maternity dress was dyed red. "You wake up. Tell the doctor on duty to save the patient." Huang Yu woke up from her sleep and was also in a daze. "Senior sister, the doctor on duty has already left. She said that something happened at home and there are no doctors who can perform a cesarean section at the moment. Should we help her give birth naturally?" Huamin immediately shook her head. "No, we can't. She's bleeding profusely. We need to stop the bleeding and give her a blood transfusion. If we give birth naturally, both her and the baby will die. We need to do surgery immediately." Wang Yu looked at the pregnant woman and said to the man, "The doctors who can perform the surgery have already left. Why don't you go to another hospital?" "No, it's too late. My wife can't take it anymore. She's going to die. I beg you, please save her." The man's eyes were blurred from crying. He knelt on the ground with a thud, holding the bleeding pregnant woman in his arms. Huamin frowned slightly. After struggling for a while, she said calmly, "You, take her to the surgery room. I'll go prepare something." "Mian, what are you doing?" Huang Yu was confused. "Perform surgery on her." After speaking, Huamin turned around and went into the disinfection room to change. Chapter 132. Huang Yu was dumbfounded when she heard what Huamian said. After Huamin changed, he put on a mask and walked out of the office. "Who's the doctor on duty tonight?" "It's Wu Xiaoxue. Why did she leave in the middle of the night? Isn't she supposed to be on duty until dawn?" Huamin frowned slightly. Huang Yu replied helplessly, "She's the hospital director's niece. Who would dare to say no? Of course she had to leave." Huamin picked up the office phone and dialed the number on the list. The phone rang for 5 seconds before someone picked it up. Huamian could tell that Wu Xiaoxue was asleep. Professor Wu, please come back for surgery. A pregnant woman is hemorrhaging and her life is in danger. Before Huamin could finish his sentence, Wu Xiaoxue interrupted him. What time is it? Are you crazy? Wu Xiaoxue asked. Then, before Huamin could say anything, Wu Xiaoxue hung up. Huamin didn't give up, so he called Wu Xiaoxue again. However, her phone was turned off. He thought that since Wu Xiaoxue lived nearby, she would be able to make it if she drove over. It wasn't because Huamin wasn't confident that he could perform the surgery, but no matter how good her medical skills were, she was only a nurse. She didn't have a medical certificate, so if she took the risk of performing the surgery, not only would it be risky, but it would also cause a lot of trouble. After putting down the phone, Huamin looked at Huang Yu. You, if I perform the surgery, can you be my assistant nurse? Mian, are you serious? You're a nurse, not a doctor. Are you really going to perform surgery on a patient? Huang Yu looked at Huamian in disbelief. Huamin was extremely calm. We don't have time to think about that. This pregnant woman is hemorrhaging and won't last long. If we turn a blind eye, then 2 lives will be lost. I know, Mian. I want to save her too, but we're not doctors. The doctor on duty isn't here, so there's nothing we can do. I feel bad too. Plus, I can only be your assistant. I don't know anything about surgery. It's okay if you don't know, I know. Don't worry, just be my assistant. But, even so, we can't perform the surgery. The anesthesiologist isn't here. Huang Yu looked like she was about to cry. It was late at night, and there was no anesthesiologist around. Therefore, in Huang Yu's opinion, transferring the patient to another hospital was the best solution. I can do it. Huang Yu was completely speechless. Hurry up and get ready, there's no time to lose. Then Huamian put on her gloves and walked out. Mian, are you sure? This is a life and deaths. But no matter what Huang Yu said, Huamin seemed to have made up her mind and was going to do it. After they walked out, Huamin looked at the weeping man and said, Take her to the OR. Can we start the surgery? That's great. The man stood up excitedly and followed Huamin to the OR with the pregnant woman in his arms. Huamin had been in the OB/GYN department for half a year. She performed a few C-sections every day, so she knew the procedure by heart. Although she had never performed it before, she believed that she wouldn't make a mistake. However, she didn't have a doctor's certificate. If the patient's family looked into it later, it would be very troublesome. Of course, under normal circumstances, if the patient's surgery was successful and there were no sequelae, no one would look into it. After all, she only did this because the situation was urgent and she wanted to save a life. When the surgery was about to begin, Huang Yu was still worried. Mian, let's not do it, it's too risky. If the surgery fails, you'll be charged with medical malpractice. Not only will you go to jail, but you'll also have to pay a lot of money. Even if it succeeds, if the patient's family looks into it, you'll still be in a lot of trouble. We're not Jesus, we don't have to sacrifice ourselves to save others. I understand what you mean. I've thought about all the problems you mentioned, but I can't just watch 2 lives die in front of me, especially when I can save them. Do you know? When I was young, I had a dream. I wanted to be a doctor because I wanted to study the human body and understand the condition of the patient. I wanted to cure them and give them a second chance at life. That was the most meaningful thing I could do. After she finished speaking, Huamin didn't wait for Huang Yu to say anything. She took the anesthetic, picked up the thin needle, and inserted it into the pregnant woman's spine. Huang Yu was scared out of her wits. She knew that an anesthesiologist without professional training could make a mistake and cause the patient to be disabled for the rest of her life. Chapter 133. What are you waiting for? Put the catheter in the patient. Quick, I'm going to give her a blood transfusion. But do you know what the patient's blood type is? Wang Yu looked conflicted. At the same time, she was at a loss because this surgery was simply too unstable. There were a lot of things that had not been done yet. If something went wrong, it would be over. Huamin replied extremely calmly, I've already finished the test. It's type AB. I just took the blood from our storage room. Mian, is there anything that you don't know? How come you know everything? Wang Yu was so excited that she wanted to cry. They had known each other for more than half a year. How come this seemingly ordinary Mian was an all-rounder at critical moments? She was like Ultraman, Superman. Don't be nervous, it'll be fine. You just have to do what you normally do. I'll take care of the rest. Huamin saw that Huang Yu was nervous and uneasy, so she comforted her. When Huang Yu heard her words, she gritted her teeth and decided to bravely complete this major surgery without any chief surgeon. Following Huamin's instructions, she immediately put the catheter in the patient and monitored the patient's data. Huamin gave the patient a blood transfusion, then put on an oxygen mask and began to stop the patient's bleeding. His speed was so fast that Huang Yu was speechless. The pregnant woman was lying on the hospital bed, completely naked. She was already in a deep coma. Therefore, Huamin used general anesthesia with the anesthetic because local anesthesia was no longer effective on her. Local anesthesia was only effective when the patient was conscious. However, general anesthesia was much riskier than local anesthesia because doctors were afraid that the anesthetic would affect the newborn's brain. Therefore, under normal circumstances, general anesthesia was not recommended unless it was a special case. However, Huamin and Huang Yu encountered one of these rare special cases. Xiao Yu, report the patient's data. Blood pressure 150/90, heart rate 135, pulse is a little weak, probably due to excessive blood loss. Her blood pressure is a little high. Let's lower it first, and then I'll perform a C-section. Huamin put on gloves and carefully checked the pregnant woman's abdomen to see if there were any incision marks. If it was the first fetus, it could be cut open directly. If it was the second fetus, it would have to be cut open at the same place as the first one. This way, it could avoid 2 wounds and a second injury. Sure enough, there was a faint mark on the pregnant woman's lower abdomen. It seemed that it was indeed the second child. However, this was even more troublesome because the wound from before had already healed, and the scar was very shallow. This increased the difficulty of the surgery. Senior sister, what's wrong? She's the second child. I want to cut the original incision. Come, pass it to me. Huamin stretched out his hand. Huang Yu handed over the tools with trembling hands. Then, Huamin calmly cut open the pregnant woman's abdomen. His strength was precise. However, Huang Yu was still very nervous. She turned her head away and didn't dare to look, so it's a breech position. No wonder there's a lot of bleeding. Her family must be confused. They should have seen it when they did the ultrasound. If it's a breech position, they should have done a C-section a long time ago. Why did they wait until now? Huamin frowned and blamed the patient's family for their ignorance. A breech position, it's a difficult labor. Oh my God, Huang Yu exclaimed. This was the most complicated surgery in history because there were only 2 people in the entire operating room, and both of them were nurses. Huamin performed the surgery without permission from the higher-ups. This was already considered treason. However, Huamin felt that in the face of life, all rules and regulations were pale and powerless because life was the most important thing. She was confident in her medical skills, so she could ensure the safety of the pregnant woman. However, she couldn't think too much about the trouble that would follow. Even if there was trouble in the future, she would face it. After all, this was her choice today. After Qin Chu got home from work, it was already late at night. Because Huamin wasn't home, the huge house seemed empty. He knew that she couldn't sleep when she was on duty, so he sent her a WeChat message. However, there was no response. Qin Chu thought that Huamin was still angry about what happened during the day, so he called her. It rang for a long time, but no one picked up. Qin Chu was even more convinced that she was angry. Therefore, he put on his jacket, went downstairs, and drove to the first hospital. When he passed by a Hong Kong restaurant, he even magically bought supper and hot milk tea. Hello, I'm looking for Huamin from the OB/GYN department, Qin Chu said politely at the hospital's on-call desk. Okay, wait a moment. I'll contact him for you right away. The nurse at the front desk rarely saw such a handsome man, so she welcomed Qin Chu warmly. When their eyes met, she even blushed. Chapter 134. After a few seconds, the young nurse put down the phone and said awkwardly, "I called the office, but no one picked up. He's probably in surgery." "Okay, thank you." After thanking her in a very gentlemanly manner, Qin Chu went straight to the gynecology emergency room on the 4th floor. Qin Chu wore a pair of black casual pants and a dark blue custom-made shirt. He was also carrying the supper he bought. He was thinking about how to coax Huamin. When he arrived at the gynecology and obstetrics office, he found that the door was open and there was no one inside. At this time, if Huamin was not in the office, he should be doing ward rounds. With that in mind, Qin Chu leaned against the wall in the corridor and took out a cigarette to smoke. Because it was late at night, there were very few people in the hospital, so no one cared. In the operating room, Huamin quickly took out the baby and cut the umbilical cord. He was finally relieved. "Xiaoyu, take the baby and weigh it. Then, let the father take a look and send it to the newborn clinic." "Okay, a boy or a girl?" Hearing the baby's cries, Huang Yu was excited. "It's a girl. A girl is good. A girl is a mother's little jacket. This mother is very lucky." After that, Huang Yu took the baby from Huamin's hands and carried it to the side. After cleaning the baby's body, she put it on the electronic scale to weigh it. 52 centimeters, 4.1 kilograms, Huang Yu said happily. Huamin raised his hand to wipe the sweat on his forehead and smiled. 8 kilograms. This baby is not small. Yes, the baby is so fat and has a hip circumference. It would be strange if she could give birth naturally, Huang Yu muttered. "Senior, I'll take the baby out first. Are you okay here alone?" "I'm fine. You can go." After that, Huamin lowered his head and carefully sutured the pregnant woman's wound. He was careful and fast. In less than 20 minutes, he was finished. After the surgery, Huamin took a look at the data of the pregnant woman. When he saw that all the indicators were normal, he was finally relieved. When she walked out of the operating theater, she wanted to find the man to push the pregnant woman to the delivery room with her. However, there was no one in the corridor. At this moment, Huang Yu walked back. "Senior sister, are you done? How is the patient?" "Everything is going well. Don't worry." "Where are the patient's family members?" "When I carried the child out just now, he was furious when he heard that it was a girl. Then he turned around and left." "Gone? How can you leave?" Huamin could not understand. His wife had just given birth and was still in the operating room, but the patient's family had left. "Don't tell me he's running away from the bill?" Huang Yu's face was filled with fear. Last year, a pregnant woman's family ran away from the OB/GYN department. In the end, after the pregnant woman recovered, she ran away as well. In the end, the doctors and nurses of the OB/GYN department paid for the surgery that cost more than 10,000 yuan. This incident traumatized everyone. Therefore, Director Wang of the OB/GYN department made a rule that no matter how urgent the situation was, the family must first pay a deposit before the surgery. Otherwise, they would not be able to do anything about it. "No, I only did the surgery because I saw the deposit." Huamin was not stupid. Naturally, he would not make such a mistake. Huang Yu was relieved when she heard that the money was paid. "What do we do now?" Huang Yu looked at Huamin. She did not know what to do. "Let's push the patient back to the room. Be careful when you move her. Don't pull on the wound." "Okay." Huamin and Huang Yu spent a lot of effort to move the pregnant woman from the operating table. Then, they pushed her into the ICU for 24 hours of observation. After everything was done, Huamin returned to the consultation room, exhausted. At the door of the consultation room, she saw a familiar figure leaning against the wall from afar. Just the sight of his face was enough to make people forget to breathe. "Who is that?" "He's so handsome," Huang Yu mumbled softly. At this moment, Qin Chu heard footsteps and turned around. The moment he saw Huamin, his cold gaze instantly softened. Chapter 135. "Why are you at the hospital?" Huamin walked over and looked at Qin Chu in surprise. "Supper." Qin Chu did not answer Huamin's question. Instead, she waved the lunchbox in her hand. Huamin was actually a little hungry. She had been busy for a while, so she was tired and hungry. Therefore, when she wanted to refuse, she said, Thank you. Huamin took the lunchbox and realized that Qin Chu had bought a lot. She immediately gave half of it to Huang Yu. Thank you, Senior. After that, Huang Yu asked in a low voice, Senior, who is that? He's super handsome. A friend. Huamin lowered her voice and whispered, I don't believe you. Why would a friend come to deliver supper in the middle of the night? I won't disturb you guys anymore. I'll leave now. After that, Huang Yu took the supper and went into the office. Only Qin Chu and Huamin were left in the corridor. Huamin sat down on the bench next to them. Then she slowly opened the lunchbox, took out a soup dumpling, and took a big bite out of it. After finishing it in a few bites, she took out a second one. Seeing Huamin eat so inelegantly, the corners of Qin Chu's mouth twitched. How hungry are you? Super hungry, Huamin said honestly. Are you still angry about what happened this afternoon? Qin Chu asked again. Afternoon? What happened? Huamin was stunned. She seemed to have forgotten what happened. Okay, pretend I didn't ask. Qin Chu looked helpless. Since the person involved did not remember, he did not want to mention it. You look very tired. Did you go for ward rounds? No, I went for surgery. Surgery? Qin Chu looked at Huamin in surprise. Is this a specialty of your hospital? What do you mean? Huamin was confused. He didn't know what Qin Chu meant. Qin Chu put one hand in his pocket and glanced at Huamin. There are doctors, but we don't need them. We'll use nurses for the surgery. The doctor skipped work in the middle of the night. There was a pregnant woman who had a difficult labor. The situation was urgent, so I did it. Huamin said casually about the incident just now. Qin Chu stared at her face for a long while before saying, How willful. If she told others about this, their first reaction would definitely be that she was crazy. How could a nurse perform a cesarean section? However, Qin Chu was not an ordinary person. After all these years, he knew Huamin's personality too well. It would not be Huamin if she did not do something shocking. Most importantly, Huamian was very confident. Not to mention a C-section, even a heart bypass surgery wouldn't be a problem for her. Last time, when Huamian performed a brain surgery for a senior leader, she acted as his assistant. Judging by her practiced posture and calm expression, one could tell that she was a professional. What you did saved her life, but it will be very troublesome. After tomorrow, the hospital and the patient will not let you go, Qin Chu reminded her kindly. Huamin nodded, swallowed the bun in her mouth, and said, I know. But I can't help it. I can't bear to see 2 lives being lost in front of me. After hearing this, Qin Chu's eyes were slightly moved. Huamin looked cold, calm, and emotionless on the surface, but deep down she was very kind. No matter how strong she was or how smart she was still a woman in the end. She was able to downplay the fact that she broke the rules to save someone. It was obvious that she was not trying to be a hero, but to save someone. Qin Chu took the bottle of Evian water he bought, opened it, and handed it to Huamin. Then he slowly sat down beside her. Mian, you asked me before why I studied medicine when I was abroad for 7 years, even though I was going to inherit the family business, right? Huamin paused, turned her head, and looked into Qin Chu's eyes. She was waiting for an answer. She really wanted to know why Qin Chu spent 7 years doing something that had nothing to do with his future. Chapter 136. Because studying medicine is your dream. Qin Chu enunciated each and every word clearly. Huamian, on the other hand, was deeply shocked by his words. She had never thought that Qin Chu would study medicine in America for 7 years because it was her dream. So, even though they had broken up at that time, he still did something related to her. And he did it for 7 years. Was it really worth it? Huamin was speechless for a long time, but her eyes were slightly teary. She remembered that 7 years ago, when they were together, the language teacher had a class called 10 Years Later. Then, every student was asked to go on stage and imagine their career 10 years later. It was said that this would stimulate the dreams in every child's heart and motivate them to work hard for 10 years. There was once a teacher in America who did such an experiment. In the end, after 10 years, when he checked the current situation of the children, he shockingly found that 80% of the children chose the career that was mentioned back then. So, the homeroom teacher, Ms. Yao, also had such a class. Qin Chu couldn't remember what the others said, but he remembered that Huamin, a girl with long hair that reached her waist, walked on stage and said, 10 years later, I want to be a doctor because I think that understanding the human body structure, developing ways to cure all kinds of diseases and extending human life is the greatest invention to date. At that time, some students mocked and said, isn't it just a doctor? Why are you making it sound so complicated? At that time, Huamin replied coldly, so what if you look down on doctors? Will you never fall sick and go to the hospital in your life? At that time, that student was speechless by Huamin's question. Ms. Yao praised Huamin's dream. Later, when Qin Chu went on stage, the teacher asked him, what is your dream? He looked around and said arrogantly, my dream is to help Huamin realize her dream. After he said this, the class exploded. Everyone knew that Huamin and Qin Chu were in a relationship. But to say it in class, especially in front of the teacher, it was really melodramatic. Huamin was so embarrassed that he covered his face and didn't dare to raise his head. Teacher Yao also coughed dryly to express his awkwardness, not knowing what to say. It had been a long time since that incident, and Huamian thought it was just a joke back then, a time when children's words carried no harm. Unexpectedly, 7 years later, Huamin was just a nurse, far from her dream. However, Qin Chu had silently helped her fulfill her dreams. His thoughts were pulled back. Huamin stared into Qin Chu's eyes. His eyes were red. Are you stupid? What does my dream have to do with you? Huamin asked, choking with sobs. Everything about you is related to me, Qin Chu replied stubbornly. Huamin remained silent because he did not know what to say next. And so they did, side by side, on a night like this, a night like this, a night of peace. If you say that, I'll think that you like me, Huamin said shyly. I don't like you. You're so direct. Hearing Qin Chu's rejection, Huamin was instantly disappointed. I've never liked you, Qin Chu repeated. I understand. Huamin nodded, but his heart ached. Qin Chu turned his head and looked at Huamin's side profile. Then, he reached out his hand and hugged her shoulder. There were some things that he did not want to say clearly, because he felt that there was no need to talk about loving someone all the time. Actions were better than words. There was still a long way to go. He believed that one day, Huamin would understand his feelings. Huamin felt the warmth from Qin Chu's palms slowly spread over her shoulder. This feeling was incredibly comforting. She took the opportunity to gently lean her head on Qin Chu's shoulder. She suddenly felt that she had a shoulder to lean on. Qin Chu, the supper you bought for me tonight must be very expensive, right? Just when Qin Chu thought that Huamin was going to say something emotional, what she said made him sweat. Chapter 137. Yeah, it's expensive, very expensive, Qin Chu purposely said. I knew it wasn't cheap, just look at the packaging. But it's really delicious, you get what you pay for. There's a reason why it's so expensive, just like Haagen-Dazs ice cream, Huamin exclaimed. That's why, since you're working so hard, you have to eat better. If that's the case, I'll finish the rest. After speaking, Huamin stood up, took the leftover soup dumplings and shrimp dumplings, and started eating again. Qin Chu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After accompanying Huamin at the hospital for a while, Qin Chu reluctantly left. When Huamin returned to his office, he was bombarded by Huang Yu. Senior, hurry up and tell me, who's that guy? He's really just a friend. I don't believe you, hurry up and tell me, is he your new boyfriend? Fine, he is. Huamin felt that he couldn't fool the little girl, so he had no choice but to confess. Huang Yu clapped her hands and laughed. Haha, I knew it was your boyfriend, he's so good. How did you meet him? Though we've known each other for many years, Huamin thought for a while and replied. Then you guys are childhood friends? You could say that. That's so romantic. Right. Is he rich? What does he do? I saw the packaging of the supper, it's from Li Fuji Hong Kong restaurant. That restaurant is super expensive, it costs more than 500 yuan per person. He bought you supper for over 1,000 yuan, he's definitely not an ordinary office worker. Although Huang Yu was a naive and sweet girl, she was very fashionable. She was very knowledgeable about food and clothing. Therefore, she was very knowledgeable, making it impossible for Huamin to fool her. He's kind of rich, his family runs a small business, that's all. Is he a local tycoon? Yes, he's a nouveau riche. Huamin answered with difficulty. She didn't want to reveal too much about Qin Chu's identity, because it was too flashy. If this girl found out that Qin Chu was the big boss of GK, the entire hospital would know by tomorrow. Impressive, senior sister. No wonder you didn't take a fancy to the forensic doctor that the head nurse introduced to you. It turns out that you have your own candidate. He's so outstanding, rich and rich. He's practically perfect. Speaking of which, your boyfriend's temperament is very good. He doesn't look like a nouveau riche at all. Don't tell anyone about this. I don't want to make it public. I know, but if Ning Ziyuan knew, he would be furious. I left him and found someone better, Huang Yu laughed. It has nothing to do with him anymore. He wouldn't be so bored as to pay attention to my private affairs. Yeah, I heard that they're getting married soon. They're probably busy with the wedding details. When the time comes, Wu Xiaoxue will show off. Upon hearing this, Huamin only smiled and didn't comment. By the time Huamin got home from work, it was already past 8 a.m. the next morning. Qin Chu had already gone to work, so the house was empty. Huamin drank a glass of wine, ate a piece of bread, took a shower, and got ready to go to bed. Just then, she received a call from the head nurse. The head nurse's tone was extremely serious. Huamin, come back to the hospital immediately. Huamin helplessly got up and called a cab to the hospital. She knew that the head nurse was looking for her because of last night's surgery. To her surprise, as soon as Huamin arrived at the OB/GYN clinic, she was greeted by her colleagues. Nurse Lin whispered, "Hurry up and go in. The head nurse and Dr. Wu are arguing. Dr. Wu wants to fire you." Upon hearing this, Huamin's expression changed slightly. Chapter 138. When Huamin walked in, the head nurse was still arguing with Professor Wu. "No matter what, I will never agree to fire Huamin," the head nurse insisted. Wu Xiaoxue looked at the head nurse arrogantly and said, "Do you know that you are trying to protect her? Who does she think she is? She is just a lowly nurse. How dare she operate on a pregnant woman? Does she really think she is Norman Bethune? What if there is a medical accident? Do you know that it will affect the reputation of our hospital? Can you bear the responsibility? Or can she?" The main problem is that Huamin performed the surgery very well. The other doctors in our department have already examined her carefully. The wound of the pregnant woman was stitched up perfectly, and there was no problem with the newborn. There was no medical accident. Just because she's fine now doesn't mean she'll be fine in the future. Even if she's fine, Huamian has violated the hospital's rules. This is a hospital, a very serious place, not a place for individual heroism. If every nurse is so capable, why would they need us doctors? They could just hire nurses with a basic salary. What does a head nurse know about medical principles? Your job is to assist us doctors, not to do whatever you want. I will personally report this to the director. Anyway, I will not fire Huamin. I don't need you to say anything. I have already called my uncle. He is very angry. He will fire Huamin sooner or later. Even if you don't agree, there is nothing you can do. You are just a head nurse. The hospital does not belong to your family. What can you do if you don't agree? Why don't you just get out of here with her? Our gynecology department is in a mess now. It is time for us to reorganize ourselves, Wu Xiaoxue said strongly as she ran her fingers through her slightly curly hair. I will. If the director fires Huamin, I will resign immediately, the head nurse said coldly. When Huamin heard this, she hurriedly went over and grabbed the head nurse's arm. Head nurse, don't be like this. This is all my fault. I can't implicate you. If the director wants to fire me, I'll leave. Don't make things difficult for me. Huamin, I heard about what happened last night. You did very well. Although you violated the rules, you saved the lives of the mother and son. You deserve respect. On the contrary, some people neglected their duties. They were supposed to be on duty, but they skipped work without permission. As a result, no one could operate on the pregnant woman. That is the shame of our hospital. What did you say? Say that again. Wu Xiaoxue's eyes immediately glowed with an ominous light. Stop arguing. Everyone, stop arguing. I know this happened because of me. Last night, before I made this decision, I had already thought of the worst possible outcome. I am very calm. I accept the hospital's decision. That's for the best. Just you wait. Wu Xiaoxue glared at Huamin. Huang Yu interjected, Mian, if you're leaving, I'm leaving too. We saved their lives. Not only did the hospital not reward us, they even want to fire us. What kind of logic is this? I may not be educated, but don't lie to me. Do you think this has nothing to do with you? If she's leaving, then you have to leave too, Wu Xiaoxue said as she glanced at Huang Yu. All right, let's stop arguing. Let's wait for the director to make the final arrangements, the head nurse yelled sternly. Then, the director's assistant came to the OB/GYN consultation room. He glanced at Huamin and said, the director wants to see you. Come with me. Huamin nodded and quietly followed behind the man. Huang Yu, Lin, the head nurse, and a few other people in the consultation room were all very worried about her safety. Wu Xiaoxue sneered, as if she could already foresee Huamin's future. She was originally thinking of a way to get rid of Huamin. After all, seeing her boyfriend's ex-girlfriend hanging around in front of her all day made her really uncomfortable. To her surprise, Huamian had walked right into the muzzle of the gun without any effort. Who gave such a lowly intern the courage to pick up a scalpel and perform a C-section on a pregnant woman? He was so bold that he could go to heaven. Inside the director's office. This was Huamin's third time meeting the director. The first time was when she was Qin Chu's assistant, and the second time was because of her brother's car accident. Huamin didn't think that as an intern nurse for more than half a year, she would be meeting the director for the third time in such a short time. She didn't know if she should be happy or sad. You're here. Have a seat. The director was still very polite. Director, this is my fault. Please fire me. I won't drag the hospital down with me. Before the director could say anything, Huamin took the initiative to resign. Chapter 139. President Wu glanced at Huamin and slowly said, Who said I was going to fire you? Huamin froze. Did he not think that she deserved to be fired for what she did last night? I heard about what happened last night and investigated it thoroughly. You did indeed violate the rules, and I have to say, you are shockingly brave, President Wu said as he stared at Huamin with a stern expression. Huamin silently lowered her head. She knew last night that the hospital would not approve of her decision. After all, the hospital would not allow her to mess around. Although the hospital does not approve of what you did, I personally admire you. I would like to represent myself and pay my respects to you. Last night you saved 2 lives. After he finished speaking, President Wu stood up and respectfully bowed to Huamin. Huamin was dumbfounded. What was going on? Director? She wanted to say something but stopped. Don't worry, let me finish. I just said that the salute just now was on my own behalf, but the hospital doesn't allow you to mess around. Nothing can be accomplished without rules and standards. As a nurse, and an intern nurse at that, you crossed the line and used the hospital's operating room and surgical equipment to perform surgery on patients without the permission of the leaders. This is quite a serious case, so after a discussion with several leaders, I have decided. Huamin became a little nervous when she heard this. We have decided to temporarily transfer you out of the OB/GYN department and into the laboratory department. Huamin seemed to breathe a sigh of relief when she heard this. It turned out that the director was only transferring her to another department. However, she really didn't want to leave the OB/GYN department. Do you accept this punishment? I accept, but I have a request, Director. What is it? Can you not fire Huang Yu? She was only my assistant. She didn't do anything that crossed the line. Huamin did not forget to plead for Huang Yu. The nurse who was with you has also been transferred out of the laboratory. Both of you should be transferred together. Otherwise, it will have a bad impact on the gynecology department. If the patient's family members make a scene, it will be difficult for us to explain. I'm relieved. Huamin felt much better when he heard that Huang Yu would be transferred to the laboratory with him. Huamin, your head nurse once highly recommended you to me. I've also seen your resume. I heard that your IQ is shockingly high. No matter what it is, as long as you're willing to learn, you can learn it easily. You can learn something that others have to work hard for 10 years in a very short time, and you can even do it very well. After what happened last night, I really saw your great potential, so if the hospital wants to send you abroad for an exchange, would you be willing? Hearing the dean's kind invitation, Huamin smiled with relief. There's no need for that, Director. I'm already so old and I don't want to learn anything. I'm quite happy working in our hospital, and it's pretty good. I'm really grateful that you didn't fire me this time. I heard that you had multiple roles last night. You were the chief surgeon and the anesthesiologist. A few doctors in the gynecology and obstetrics department were amazed when they saw the patient's wound and recovery. Pregnant women have a difficult breech position, and the surgery is very difficult. Not to mention a newbie like you, even an experienced chief physician would not dare to operate on her. You're very good. Have you done any clinical experiments before? Huamin shook his head. Never. Last night was the first time I actually operated on her. That's why I said that you're really a medical genius. It's a pity that you're a nurse. It's a waste of your talent. President Wu looked into Huamin's eyes and said meaningfully. Chapter 140. Director, you flatter me, there's nothing to be sad about. To be honest, it's good that I found a suitable position for myself. Being a doctor is hard work, so maybe I'm selfish and don't want to tire myself out. Huamin smiled again. She was glad that President Wu didn't have any prejudice against her because of what Wu Xiaoxue said. This meant that the director was a very fair old man. Okay, since this is your decision, I won't force you. Go report to the laboratory. Starting today, you'll be working in the OBGYN department. Okay, Director. After walking out of the director's office, Huamin suddenly felt a lot better. However, she really didn't want to leave the OBGYN department. Before Huamin returned to the OBGYN department, the director's office issued two announcements. First, two nurses in the OBGYN department, Huang Yu and Huamin, violated regulations and were transferred out of the OBGYN department. Second, the deputy director of the OBGYN department, Wu Xiaoxue, neglected her duties last night and left her post without permission, which negatively affected the hospital. Her title of deputy director will be removed and she will be demoted to a normal doctor. At the same time, her salary will be deducted for half a year as a warning. When Wu Xiaoxue received the punishment, she was extremely embarrassed. As President Wu's niece, she was punished by her uncle. She angrily ran to the top floor and made a scene. However, President Wu's assistant stopped her and said that the director didn't want to see her. Wu Xiaoxue was so angry that her face turned green. In the end, Ning Ziyuan personally went upstairs and pulled her down. Xiaoxue, stop it, you're going to affect the baby. No, I have to ask my uncle why he did this. Why is he siding with that bitch? Did he sleep with that bitch Huamin? Wu Xiaoxue was so angry that she didn't know what to say. After Ning Ziyuan heard this, his expression changed slightly. What nonsense are you talking about? What? You don't like to hear me talk about your ex-lover. That's the truth. If there wasn't something fishy going on here, why didn't Uncle just fire that arrogant girl? You know what she did last night, right? She's just a little nurse, but she actually performed a cesarean section on a pregnant woman. She even worked as an anesthesiologist. What a joke. Ning Ziyuan had heard about what had happened last night, because the news had spread throughout the hospital. He didn't expect Huamian to be so bold, but he really admired her for what she did. It was said that the surgery was done perfectly, and several obstetricians and gynecologists were ashamed of their inferiority. I heard that the operation was very successful. Why do you keep harping on this? Ning Ziyuan frowned. Wu Xiaoxue was furious. She slapped Ning Ziyuan's face. What nonsense are you talking about? Who's your woman? Xiaoxue, that's not what I meant. What I meant was that you have to calm down and deal with this matter. I can't calm down. I want to see my uncle. He can't treat me like this. If he doesn't let me be the director, I'll quit. I'm going to tell my dad how my uncle treated me. I want to resign. I don't want to be a normal doctor, I'm a professor. Wu Xiaoxue yelled at the door of the director's office. President Wu was unmoved. He knew all too well how willful his niece was. However, he knew a little about Huamin. He finally understood why such an ordinary-looking girl would be favored by someone like Qin Chu. She was so special. Director, Miss Wu is making a scene at the door. Do you want to see her? The assistant couldn't stand it anymore, so he went in to ask the director. Don't worry about her. Let her make a scene. Tell her that if she doesn't want to be the director, I'll accept her resignation. Let her go. Yes. Just as Wu Xiaoxue and Ning Ziyuan were arguing, the director's assistant walked out and said in all seriousness, Miss Wu, the director said that if you want to resign, he'll approve it. You can leave now. What? My uncle really said that? Wu Xiaoxue's face was filled with disbelief. Chapter 141. Yes, that's right. No, I want to see him. I want to ask him face to face. Wu Xiaoxue refused to give up. In the end, Ning Ziyuan carried her and rushed upstairs. It would be too embarrassing if they continued to make a scene. Huamin and Huang Yu packed their things in the OBGYN department and prepared to leave. All the colleagues in the OBGYN department stood at the door to see them off. Dr. Wang quietly pulled Huamin's sleeve. You did a great job last night. The surgery was perfect. Thank you, Dr. Wang. Huamin pursed her lips. I'll treat you to a meal when we're free. We can discuss the details of the surgery. Huamin didn't expect that even Dr. Wang, who was famous for her medical skills, would treat her to a meal to discuss her medical skills with her. Huamin, stay there for a while. After this dies down, I'll ask the director to transfer you back. The head nurse couldn't bear to part with Huamin. It's okay, head nurse. It's the same wherever I am. Yeah, head nurse. I'll be here with senior sister. Don't worry. Huang Yu held a box and giggled behind Huamin. She was very happy to be transferred to the laboratory this time. Because the OBGYN department was tiring and required night shifts, the salary wasn't high. However, the laboratory was different. It was just a simple blood test. The equipment was ready-made. Most importantly, the laboratory didn't have night shifts. She didn't have to stay up late anymore. It was great, even though the hospital had punished them. But what about Huang Yu? Was the director rewarding them? Huamin reluctantly said goodbye to her colleagues in the OBGYN department and followed Huamin to the laboratory. The director of the laboratory was a middle-aged man. He was slightly chubby and wore glasses. He had a cute smile and a cute name. His name was Han Dongdong. Director Han, I'm Huamin. Please take care of me in the future. Oh my God, you're that Huamin? Come, sit down. No need, I can stand. Come and sit down. Tell me, how did you bravely operate on the pregnant woman last night? I heard that you even know how to perform anesthesia. Have you learned it before? Why don't you take the doctor's exam? There's no future in being a nurse. You work so hard. Are you a Virgo? By the way, what color do you like? Director Han bombarded Huamin with questions that made him dizzy. He did not know which one to answer first. In the end, she concluded that Chief Han was not only a fat man, but he was also a chatterbox. However, with such a boss, life would be easier in the future. After all, he was easy to get along with. Even Huang Yu knew how to draw blood and do tests. Huamin could do it with his eyes closed, so it was a piece of cake. That was until she met Lu Xing in the laboratory, which surprised her. I didn't expect to see you here, Lu Xing said coldly when she saw Huamin. Huamin also did not expect to see her high school classmate, or rather, rival, in the laboratory on the first day. She was not a rival in love because Qin Chu did not even look at her in the eye. Not long ago, he even embarrassed her in the WeChat group. I'm quite surprised too, Huamin replied. Draw my blood. I've been having a bad cold recently, so I want to do a blood test. Are you sure you want me to do it? Huamin confirmed again. Of course, I'm paying you. Shouldn't you be serving me? Lu Xing was aggressive. No, I thought you would be worried about me. You're afraid that I'll take revenge on you. Do you dare? To be honest, I don't like you, so I might not be polite when I draw your blood. Bear with it. After saying that, Huamin picked up the needle on the catheter and inserted it into the blood vessel on Lu Xing's arm. Lu Xing frowned at the sudden stab. It really hurt a little. I heard that you got back together with Qinchu? Lu Xing suddenly asked. Chapter 142. Who did you hear that from? Huamin didn't raise her head. Instead, she held onto the catheter and asked calmly. You don't have to worry about that. Just answer me, am I right? Why should I answer you? I'm not your friend. What a joke. Of course, we've never been friends. We're just rivals in love. Upon hearing this, Huamin raised her head. She glanced at Lu Xing and said, let me correct you. We're just enemies, not rivals in love. Qinchu has never been with you. We'll be together. Just wait and see. Lu Xing clenched her teeth and stared at Huamin. Really? Good luck then. After speaking, Huamin pulled out the needle and said, you better press down there, or else you'll get a bump. Did you do it on purpose? Lu Xing was a little angry. Of course not. If I did it on purpose, I wouldn't have found the blood vessel in one go. I would have pricked you repeatedly until the blood vessel was damaged. How vicious, Lu Xing cursed. Actually, I didn't do that, did I? Huamin only smiled. She wasn't angry. Before leaving, Lu Xing looked at Huamin and said, Huamin, you're still as arrogant as ever. I won't admit defeat. Just you wait, Qinchu will be mine sooner or later. Okay, I hope you never wake up from your sweet dream. Upon hearing what Huamin said, Lu Xing was so angry that she turned around and left. Huamin chuckled. She seemed to have found the feeling of bickering with Lu Xing back in school. The truth was, she didn't hate Lu Xing at all, even though she was always hostile towards her. However, she was at least an open and above-board person. If she had something bad to say, she would say it directly. She wouldn't do anything behind people's backs. Wasn't there a saying that one would rather offend a gentleman than a villain? Therefore, Huamin felt that Lu Xing was at least a respectable opponent. When they were having lunch in the cafeteria, some people pointed at Huamin, praising and criticizing him. Some praised her for her courage and medical skills, saying that she would be a talent sooner or later. Some said that she would be kicked out of the hospital sooner or later if she didn't court death. However, none of that mattered to Huamin. Senior sister, aren't you angry that everyone is talking about you? Huang Yu asked in a low voice. Why should I be angry? Life is my own. If I cared too much about other people's opinions, then wouldn't my life be like a pair of underpants? I'll have to take whatever fart others throw at me. Ha, senior sister, you are so cute. If I were a man, I would definitely marry you. Huang Yu couldn't stop laughing. Come on, if you're a man, I won't marry you. As the two of them chatted, they did not notice the person behind them. Wu Xiaoxue was emotionally unstable, so she skipped work and went home to rest. Ning Ziyuan was physically and mentally exhausted. He was not in the mood to work all morning, so he didn't want to eat lunch. However, he heard from his colleagues at the ophthalmology department that they saw Huamin, so for some reason, he came as well. Mian, I heard about what happened last night. You're amazing. Huamin was talking and laughing with Huang Yu. When he turned around and saw Ning Ziyuan, his bright smile immediately disappeared. Thank you. Her tone was especially distant. Can I talk to you alone? I have something to tell you, Ning Ziyuan said awkwardly. Then he looked at Huang Yu meaningfully. Huang Yu didn't dare to make the decision. She looked at Huamin again, as if asking for Huamin's opinion. Chapter 143. It's okay, you can talk about it here. After all, you're with Professor Wu right now. It would be bad if she found out and misunderstood. Huamin unexpectedly rejected Ning Ziyuan's request. Mian, I beg you, please give me a chance to talk to you alone, okay? It was the first time that Ning Ziyuan had been so humble, and Huamin's heart softened. Mian, I'll be going now, okay? Huang Yu didn't want to stay here any longer, so she got up and left with her tray. Ning Ziyuan took the opportunity to sit down across from Huamin. Aren't you afraid that Professor Wu will hear you talking to me so brazenly? Asked Professor Wu. I'm not afraid of her, it doesn't matter, Ning Ziyuan said calmly. Oh, what do you want to talk to me about? Hurry up, I'm a little busy and have to go back to work, Huamin said as he looked at the time on his phone. Ning Ziyuan glanced at Huamin and whispered mysteriously, I'm going to attend an ophthalmology conference in Hong Kong next month. That's good news, congratulations. But everyone has to write a new academic paper. You know that you helped me before, so can you help me this time as well? Ning Ziyuan stuttered. Huamin understood that Huamin had a favor to ask of him. No wonder Huamin was so polite. I'm sorry, I can't help you. Me, please? Ziyuan, you can't always rely on others. If you have so much time, why don't you research how to achieve success in ophthalmology? Really, as long as you put your heart into it, you'll learn something. After all, no one can steal what you've learned. But I don't have the talent. You're a genius, I know. Even if I'm a genius, I don't have to help you. I can give you money. Can you write another one for me? How about 30,000 yuan? Huamin smiled, a smile that contained a lot of emotions. However, Ning Ziyuan couldn't tell. He anxiously asked, 50,000, is 50,000 enough? You can buy a cherry scooter for your brother with 50,000 yuan. Doesn't he love cars? Think about it. Ziyuan, you might not know this, but I'm not poor anymore. I don't need money. Upon hearing Ning Ziyuan's emphasis on money, Huamin smiled. Ning Ziyuan slightly froze, then he remembered what happened with Qin Chu. Yeah, how could I forget? You have a rich ex-boyfriend, how could you lack money? It's not about money. Anyway, I can't help you. Women are so heartless. You won't help me after we broke up. Ha, you're so realistic. Ning Ziyuan laughed mockingly when he saw that Huamin wasn't willing to help him. Huamin was a little unhappy as he retorted, same to you. When it comes to this, you can only be better than me. Thinking back to when his brother needed money so badly for his surgery, Huamin felt like he was helping Ning Ziyuan. He really was asshole. Then, Huamin threw down the unfinished food on his plate, got up, and left. Ning Ziyuan felt that the current Huamin was completely different from before. She wasn't gentle, she wasn't low-key, and she didn't even smile at him. When Huamin got home from work, Qin Chu was there as well. Congratulations, you don't have to work night shifts anymore, Qin Chu said proudly. How did you know? Huamin remembered that he didn't tell Qin Chu that he was being transferred out of the OBGYN department. Chapter 144. I had lunch with Wu Zhongxing at noon. Huamin was speechless. Okay, so you were the one who asked President Wu not to fire me? How is that possible? After he made the decision, he took the initiative to call me to arrange a meal. Huamin was confused. Huamin knew that with Qin Chu's arrogance, he wouldn't casually ask someone out for a meal. Now that he agreed to a meal with President Wu, it seemed like he was in a good mood. Actually, Huamin's guess was pretty close. Although President Wu didn't give Huamin a good position, he wouldn't have to work the night shift anymore. This made Qin Chu very happy. That was why he was willing to give Wu Zhongxing a chance to have a meal with him. So you're saying that you pulled some strings for me? How annoying. Huamin covered his mouth and laughed. Of course not, he made the decision himself. I didn't say anything. Qin Chu was afraid that Huamin would be angry, so he immediately explained. That's why I'm annoyed. Qin Chu froze. Then he heard Huamin continue. Shouldn't you have asked the director to give us the position of deputy director? Otherwise, wouldn't you have eaten this meal for nothing? Qin Chu was speechless. For the first time, he was speechless. Seeing that Qin Chu was speechless, Huamin was in a good mood. Have you eaten dinner? Not yet. What do you want to eat? Let's go out. No, the food outside is too greasy. Homemade food is fine, I'll make it. After Huamin changed his clothes, he ran into the kitchen. Qin Chu sat in the living room, reading the financial news on his laptop. Such a simple and peaceful life was actually what he had always dreamed of. Scrambled eggs with tomatoes, braised pork ribs, and borscht soup. The combination of one meat and one vegetable was perfect. Huamin was very talented, so the food he made was very delicious. Qin Chu ate 2 bowls of rice for the first time. I saw Lu Xing today. Huamin mentioned inadvertently. Qin Chu didn't say anything, as if he wasn't interested in this person. She also said that she won't admit defeat. She wants to fight with me. She said that you two will be together sooner or later. Huamin secretly looked at Qin Chu's expression and continued. She's quite daring. Why didn't you ask her if she wants to go to Mars? They just happen to lack someone who likes to dream. Why are you saying that? People still need to have dreams. What if they come true? Huamin laughed. Qin Chu immediately raised his head, looked at him faintly, and said coldly, her dream will never come true. Huh, I'm just kidding. Why are you so serious? Huamin saw that Qin Chu was angry and thought that it was too funny. It was rare for him to be angry with him. Don't make such stupid jokes in the future, Qin Chu scolded. Huamin was just about to say something when his phone rang. He picked up the phone and before he could say anything he heard a woman crying on the other end. Lingling, what's wrong? Huamin asked worriedly. On the other end, Zhu Lingling refused to speak. She just kept crying, Lingling, don't cry. Tell me what happened. Huamin couldn't sit still anymore. He picked up his phone and stood up. Mian, right now? I really want to die. Zhu Lingling's voice was hoarse. However, he could still tell that it was her voice. Huamin's heart trembled when he heard this. He immediately asked, Lingling, where are you right now? I'll come and find you. Chapter 145. I think I'm at the Rainbow Bridge. Zhu Lingling's voice was stuttering. Not only was she extremely sad, but she was also drunk. Therefore, her pronunciation was not very accurate when she spoke. Stay there and don't move. I'll come find you immediately. Huamin hung up the phone, stood up, and picked up his coat from the rack in the living room. What's wrong? Qin Chu saw her panicked expression. Something's wrong with Lingling. I'll go check it out. I'll drive you. It's okay. Huamin thought that Qin Chu would be tired from work, so he might as well take a cab. He didn't want to trouble him. But before he could finish speaking, Qin Chu had already put on his coat and left with his car keys. His efficiency was unparalleled. The traffic wasn't too heavy at night, and Qin Chu drove fast, so they arrived at the Rainbow Bridge in less than 15 minutes. From afar, Huamin saw a familiar voice standing on the bridge. She was wearing a red dress and swaying as she stood by the bridge. Who else could it be but Lingling? Oh my God, is this girl trying to kill herself? Huamin didn't have time to think. As soon as the car stopped, he opened the door and ran out. Qin Chu parked the car and followed him. Zhu Lingling was their high school classmate, and the three of them had known each other for many years. Although Qin Chu wasn't interested in any woman other than Huamin, he knew that Zhu Lingling was Huamin's best and only friend. Lingling. Huamin hugged Zhu Lingling from behind and forcefully dragged her down from the Rainbow Bridge. This girl was usually carefree, cheerful, and had a sharp tongue. It was rare for her to lose her composure like this. Huamin guessed that something must have happened to make her act so strangely. When Zhu Lingling saw Huamin, she hugged him and cried uncontrollably, Mian, I don't want to live anymore. I'm so sad. My heart hurts. It hurts so much here. Zhu Lingling cried as she pointed at her chest. Lingling, we're not in a hurry. We can talk about it slowly. Let's go. Huamin took off his jacket and put it on Zhu Lingling. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He immediately took off his jacket and put it on Hua. Can I take her home first? Huamian turned around to ask Qin Chu. Get in the car. Qin Chu's a lots. Estes was Qin Chu's was. In addition, the two of them were secretly married, so they had never brought an outsider home. Huamin was afraid that Qin Chu would be upset, so he asked. But for the first time, Qin Chu actually agreed. This comforted Huamin a lot. After driving them home, Qin Chu said to Huamin downstairs, I'm going to the company. You guys can go upstairs. Huamin knew that Qin Chu didn't want to, so he wanted to give Huamin and Zhu Lingling some privacy to talk. At this moment, she was really grateful to Qin Chu. She was grateful for Qin Chu's understanding. Although he was domineering and arrogant, he knew when to make things difficult for Huamin. Go upstairs. Call me if you need anything. Then, Qin Chu watched as Huamin took Zhu Lingling upstairs. Then he turned around and drove away. Huamin helped Zhu Lingling change into a nightgown. Then he poured her a cup of hot water with brown sugar and dates. The two of them leaned on the sofa. At this time, Zhu Lingling was no longer so agitated. She was a lot more clear-headed. Lingling, tell me. What happened? Huamin asked as he lifted Zhu Lingling's bangs. He felt sorry for her. Chapter 146. Zhu Lingling wiped her red and swollen eyes with a tissue and said in a hoarse voice, Mian, I'm heartbroken. I knew it. Otherwise, there's nothing that can defeat you. Huamin didn't seem surprised at all. After all these years, he knew Zhu Lingling's temper too well. This girl was insensitive and didn't care about trifles. She was loyal to her friends and filial to her family, but she was too infatuated with relationships. Zhu Lingling had a few relationships that ended without a happy ending. Every time, she was heartbroken and couldn't extricate herself. So, every time Zhu Lingling announced that she was in a relationship, Huamin looked happy for her on the surface, but he was secretly worried. He was afraid that the man she found wasn't reliable and would hurt her again. Sure enough, I trusted him so much and loved him so much, but he lied to me. Did you know? He lied to me. Speaking of that man, Zhu Lingling became emotional. Huamin passed her a tissue again and comforted her. Calm down, speak slowly. We met on the plane. He's a first-class guest. He's not that handsome, but he has a good temperament. He's very mature. You know that I've always liked mature men more than little fresh meat. Huamin nodded to show that he understood. He took the initiative to add me on WeChat, and we got along very well. Not long after, we started dating. His job is not bad. He's a senior engineer, the kind that does construction. I've always thought that science guys are the kind that's dumb, but he's different. He's humorous and witty, and most importantly, he's very meticulous. He's very nice to me, and he's also very generous. You also know that women have vanity. Although I also like those luxury goods, I really can't buy them often. After he found out, he gave them to me. Did you find out that those luxury goods were fake? Huamin interrupted and asked. Of course not. How could you think that? Zhu Lingling looked at Huamin helplessly. Huamin smiled. I'm just teasing you. You're a purchasing agent yourself. Of course you can tell the difference. That's right. He can't lie to me about that. Every month, he's afraid that I won't have enough to spend, so he'll give me tens of thousands. I really thought that he was the one for me, you know? I even told my parents that I plan to meet them in a while because I don't want to be a stewardess anymore. I want to have a family and my own baby. Big sis, get to the point. Can you stop exaggerating? This isn't the plot of a novel. Huamin said helplessly. The point is, I found out that he actually has a wife. Zhu Lingling burst into tears again. It was obvious that she was very sad. So you've been cheated on by a mistress? Huamin looked sympathetically at her best friend. Yes, his wife took the initiative to call me and told me a lot over the phone. Did she scold you? Huamin asked. Zhu Lingling shook her head. Just scold me. It's not like you don't know me. I'm very good at arguing. I usually don't lose. Because she didn't scold me, she was very polite to me. I can tell that she's a very well-educated woman. She told me some things about her and him. They have 2 lively and cute daughters. They were originally a happy family. So your heart softened and you decided to quit? Huamin guessed that her good friend was a kind person. She definitely wouldn't continue to be a mistress. Wrong. She didn't persuade me to quit. She asked me to persuade that scumbag to agree to divorce her. You mean that woman asked you to persuade the man to divorce her? Huamin was a little surprised. Chapter 147. Zhu Lingling nodded. She said that she had had enough after all these years. Their love had died a long time ago. She wanted to emigrate to Canada with her 2 daughters, but that damned guy refused to divorce her. From this, it can be seen that the man you like is a scumbag. Even his wife begged another woman to persuade him to get a divorce. Huamin analyzed calmly. Zhu Lingling smiled bitterly. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Later, I asked him why he lied to me. Why did he lie to me when he had a wife and children? Guess how he explained it to me? He must have said that he and his wife didn't have a good relationship and that they had no feelings for each other. His wife refused to divorce him no matter what, right? Then, he told you to wait for him and that he would definitely marry you. After hearing Huamin's words, Zhu Lingling's eyes were filled with admiration. As expected of a genius. You can even think of that. He really said that? It was exactly as you said. If his wife hadn't called me, I would have been deceived by him. He was the one who refused to divorce her, but he said that his wife was the one who kept pestering him. Excuse me, Lingling. Can I ask why he didn't want to divorce his wife? They definitely didn't have any feelings for each other. Since they're still pestering each other, it's probably because of benefits, right? Is his wife very rich? Huamin guessed. Zhu Lingling was so excited that she almost rushed over and hugged Huamin. Her face was full of surprise. How did you know that? This is what I deduced. Huamin chuckled. You're right. His wife is very rich. Her income is higher than his, and she owns many retail stores in the city. Even if she doesn't do anything, she can earn 5 million yuan a month just by collecting rent. No wonder. But I'm also curious. If she knew that he was having an affair and had evidence, the court would usually order a divorce. His wife shouldn't be so conflicted. Huamin was puzzled again. This is what I despise the most about him. He threatened his wife and hid their 5-year-old daughter. Because it was a matter between husband and wife, the police did not care. He was afraid that he would lose his money tree, so he used the child to threaten his wife. That's the worst kind of trash. Huamin sighed slightly. Min, why am I so unlucky? I think you should be happy after discovering the truth. You shouldn't be so suicidal. I'm happy? Zhu Lingling looked helpless. Isn't it good to discover this person's true colors as soon as possible and then take precautions against scumbags? If you fall deeper into his trap in the future, it will be a tragedy. Then, what should I do now? Zhu Lingling asked dejectedly. What else can we do? Of course, we have to break up with him. Don't associate with him anymore. This kind of scumbag should get lost as far away as possible. But he doesn't agree. Are you stupid? So what if he doesn't agree? You're just dating. To put it bluntly, he's having an extramarital affair. It's not a legal relationship. He said that he loves me very much. Then if I tell you that Qin Chu told me that he loves you very much, would you believe it? Huamin looked angry. Zhu Lingling immediately shivered in fear. Are you kidding me? Sis, I can't afford to offend that god of yours. So, you don't believe in that kind of nonsense. I know. I just feel bad after spending so much time with him. That's normal. There are so many scumbags nowadays. Meeting a few of them is just a lesson. You learn from your mistakes. Just remember that in the future. Yeah, I learned a bloody lesson. I'll remember it, Zhu Lingling said with red eyes. So, you must take a shower and sleep. Then, don't think about anything else. No, I'm still here. Let's go. It's too inconvenient to stay at your place. After speaking, Zhu Lingling was about to get up. However, Huamin stopped her. Qin Chu isn't home. Don't worry and stay here. It's good to have you here at a time like this. Zhu Lingling suddenly hugged Huamin and thanked him from the bottom of her heart. Don't be silly. We've known each other for so many years. Whenever something happens to me, aren't you the first one to jump out and protect me? Huamin patted her back and comforted her. Yeah, but I've never worried about you. As long as Qin Chu is here, nothing will happen to you. It was like this 7 years ago, and it's still like this 7 years later. Mian, don't you think that Qin Chu treats you super well? I do. What about you? What do you think? Are you still planning to divorce him? Zhu Lingling asked softly. Upon hearing this, Huamin's eyes darkened slightly. Chapter 148. Okay, you can't even protect yourself right now, so let's not talk about me. Are you hungry? I'll make you something to eat. Zhu Lingling knew that Huamin's subconscious avoidance of the question meant that there was still something between her and Qin Chu. Yeah, I'm a little hungry. Can you make me some instant noodles? I don't have that kind of junk food at home. Hot soup noodles will do. I'll make it for you. Wait a moment. After speaking, Huamin put on an apron and went to the kitchen. With Huamin's company, Zhu Lingling calmed down a lot. She ate the noodles, took a hot bath, and went to bed early. The next day, she went out with Huamin. Huamin went to work, but she went home. Before they left, Huamin reminded her worriedly, Remember what I told you. Block all of his WeChat and phone numbers. Don't contact him anymore, or else it'll be even more painful. Also, if you can't pull yourself out, then you'll end up like his wife. I know, girl. Don't worry. Thank you for taking care of me all night. Cut the crap and go home. Call me if you need anything. After saying goodbye to Zhu Lingling, Huamin went to the first hospital. The work in the laboratory was very simple and not too busy because there were many people on duty. The people in the laboratory were very nice to Huamin and Huang Yu. Huang Yu was very happy. When she had nothing to do, she would gossip with Huamin. Hey, Mian, the pregnant woman you operated on is going to be discharged tomorrow. Did you know? I heard that the baby is fine. Yes, she's fine. When I passed by the neonatal department, I saw her baby. It's very healthy, Huamin said with a smile. In the end, she still has to thank you. If it weren't for you, she and the baby would be dead. But this pregnant woman is too unkind. She didn't even say a word of thanks from the surgery. It's as if it's something we should do. You can't blame her. She's very weak after the surgery. How could she care about that? Huang Yu immediately retorted, if she doesn't know how to say thank you, then what about her family? That man even knelt down in front of us that night. His words were even nicer than singing. Now that they heard that it was a girl, they didn't even see a ghost. I heard that today when she was discharged from the hospital, it was her maiden family who came to pick her up. None of her in-laws came. Huamian also lamented, these old ideas are really harmful. In the end, the poor ones are the women. If everyone has a boy, where will they find a wife in the future? Won't the human race go extinct then? Huamin smiled and didn't say anything else. Mian, your boyfriend's family is so rich. When you get married in the future, it'll be very grand, right? Huang Yu suddenly asked. I don't think so. We don't like to be too high profile. She thought back to the day when she and Qin Chu got their marriage certificate in a hurry. It wasn't grand at all. However, that was what she wanted. The fewer people who knew, the better. Once their relationship was made public, Qin Chu's mother and Su Xiaolan's mother would probably fight it out, and the world would fall into chaos. She didn't even dare to think about it. Just then her phone rang. She looked down and saw the caller ID. Her gaze softened. Jixin. Sis, I'm going back to school. Although it hasn't been a month yet, I feel a lot better. It's too boring to stay at home. Okay, be careful and rest well. I know, sis. I was just telling you because I didn't want you to worry. Then I'm going to class now. Come back for dinner this week. Don't forget Mom's birthday. I know. Huamin nodded. After hanging up, he was thinking about what he should get his mother for her birthday this week. However, he was startled by some loud noises. Huamin? Who the fuck is Huamin? Get the fuck out here. A few men yelled at the top of their lungs, attracting everyone's attention. Chapter 149. Senior, I think they're looking for you, Huang Yu muttered as she stood up and craned her neck to look out of the window. Huamin heard her as well. After all, it was rare for someone to have the same name as her. Therefore, if someone called out Huamin, they were definitely looking for her. At this moment, a few burly men walked over from not far away. Their faces were filled with anger. They ignored the security guard's advice and rushed to the entrance of the laboratory. Who's Huamin? Come out. The leader of the group was a man with a big head and a gold chain around his neck. I'm Huamin. Is there anything I can help you with? You're Huamin? The man confirmed again. Huamin nodded and looked at the four men in front of him. He did not know any of them. Then it's easy. We're the family members of the patient, Yuan Finfin. I'm her elder brother. I heard that my sister was hospitalized a few days ago and had a cesarean section. You were the one who performed the surgery, right? Yes. Huamin was extremely calm. Are you a doctor? No. I heard that you're just a nurse, an intern at that, right? Huamin nodded. Huang Yu secretly tugged at Huamin's sleeve to remind him to stop talking. You're a fucking intern at that. What right do you have to perform the surgery on my sister? Who gave you the guts? Are you using my sister's life as an experiment? Do you think she's a lab rat? The situation wasn't like that. It was an emergency and she was having a difficult labor. The baby was in breech position and she was bleeding profusely. I had no choice. I had to do it to save her and the baby. Bullshit. Haven't you heard of any hospital where a nurse performs surgery? Are all the doctors dead? Well, let me ask you, where did the doctors go in such a big hospital? The doctor wasn't there that night, and it was too late to transfer to another hospital. You can ask your brother-in-law about this, and he agreed to it, Huamin explained word by word. I asked my brother-in-law, and he said he didn't even know you were a nurse. If he knew you weren't a doctor, then, even if my sister was in danger, he would never let you operate on her. Huamin's expression changed slightly when he heard this. At that time, she remembered that when she asked the man to pay the surgery fee, she told him that the doctor on duty was not there. If she performed the surgery, it might be a little risky. However, at that time, the man kept begging Huamin and wanted to call her mother. Now, he changed his words and said that he did not know. This was really too interesting. Huang Yu was no longer calm. She stood up and said, "What do you mean? My senior sister and I were kind enough to save your family, yet you're saying this. Do you know that? If my senior sister didn't perform the surgery on your sister, she would be a corpse right now." Bullshit, don't think that we don't know that you're trying to fool us. You two little nurses wanted to use my sister as an experiment to satisfy your selfish desires. The despicable thing is that the hospital hid this for you. Let me tell you, my sister hasn't been discharged yet, but she's obviously not feeling well. If there are any side effects, you'll have to bear the consequences. I've checked your sister's condition. She's doing well and can be discharged soon. Impossible, my sister just said that she's dizzy and can't be discharged. Your hospital and an irresponsible and crazy woman like you who used patients for experiments must give my family an explanation. Explanation? What kind of explanation do you want? Huamin seemed to have understood the patient's family's motive. You and your hospital must compensate my sister accordingly. As expected, after hearing this, Huamin laughed. So, you brought people here today to blackmail me, right? Chapter 150. Woman, how can you say that? What do you mean by blackmail? This is a normal and reasonable compensation. Do you know that this is a medical accident? Not only are you responsible, but the hospital is also responsible. We've already consulted with a lawyer. Who pointed you in the right direction? Huamin could tell at a glance that these people were not educated and definitely did not know much. The pregnant woman and her child were recovering well, but they suddenly came up to make a scene. Someone must have given them an idea. Sure enough, after hearing Huamin's question, the leader, who called himself the pregnant woman's brother, immediately changed his expression. It's not like that at all. It's just that my sister is not feeling well right now. I wanted to talk to the chief surgeon, but there are so many doctors in the obstetrics and gynecology department, and they all said that it wasn't them who did the surgery. In the end, they said that it was a person called Huamin who did the surgery. But we've already asked around, and there's no such person in the obstetrics and gynecology department. You're just an intern nurse, and you actually have the guts to operate on my sister. You damn woman, see if I don't beat you to death. After saying that, the man in the gold chain rushed forward, raised his hand, and hit Huamin. But before his hand landed, Huamin grabbed his wrist tightly. Huamin's sudden burst of strength was amazing, and the man's arm was in pain. This is a hospital, and you can't use violence here. I'll let you know what the truth is. You said that the pregnant woman is not feeling well, but you need evidence, not just words. If you attack me personally without knowing the truth, then I have the right to call the police. Call the police? Okay, hurry up and call the police. Then I'll let the police arrest a black-hearted woman like you. Please, can you be reasonable? If it wasn't for my senior, would your sister still be alive today? We can't say for sure who's the black-hearted one here. Huang Yu was so angry that her face turned green. Xiao Yu, stop talking. Huamin stopped Huang Yu from arguing with the patient's family. At this time, the hospital's security also arrived and dragged the men out of the laboratory. Huamin, what happened? Chief Han from the laboratory walked over. Chief, there's something going on in the obstetrics and gynecology department. I think I have to go back and take a look. Then go quickly. Chief Han was very easy to talk to. He immediately approved Huamin's leave. Huamin and Huang Yu followed behind and headed towards the OBGYN building. What she wanted to confirm the most was whether the pregnant woman had any complications. Obstetrics and Gynecology building. Huamin bumped into the head nurse before he arrived at the hospital room. Huamin, I was just about to look for you. Is it about the pregnant woman? The head nurse nodded. That's right. I heard that the patient's family went to the laboratory to make a scene. Yes, they insisted that the patient was suffering from complications and dizziness and couldn't leave the hospital. Then, they asked me and the hospital to give an explanation. The head nurse didn't look too good. She said in a serious tone, "This is troublesome. I thought that the patient was fine and that this matter would be over. I didn't expect that the patient's family would find out about it. Is there really anything wrong with the pregnant woman?" Huamin felt that his surgery had been very successful. There shouldn't be any problems. The head nurse shook her head, pulled Huamin to the side, and whispered, "It's not that simple. I've looked at the patient's data, and she's fine. She can be discharged, but the patient insists that she's dizzy and not feeling well. We couldn't find anything wrong with her, so I suspect that this is a premeditated scam. Her husband, whom she hasn't seen for a long time, came last night, but I heard that he left after a short while. But today, so many people came to make a scene." "I see." Huamin nodded to show that he understood. "Head nurse, what should we do now?" Huang Yu was still young, so she was a little scared. Chapter 151. Don't worry. I've already reported this matter to the director. However, the director is out of town for a meeting and will be back in 3 days. So, I also told the pregnant woman that the director will be back in 3 days. We can't decide how to deal with it. Head nurse, I'm sorry, I dragged everyone into this. Huamin felt guilty. She felt bad that her decision had brought so much trouble to the OBGYN department. Let's not talk about this anymore. I understand that you were in a hurry to save people. Don't worry, if the pregnant woman is fine, no matter how much trouble they cause, it's useless. Although you're not a doctor, you performed a perfect surgery. All I can say is that you overstepped your authority. It's not like you committed murder, so don't worry. I'm not worried, I just feel sorry for everyone. If you really feel sorry for everyone, then pull yourself together and fight against these unreasonable family members, the head nurse scolded. I won't run away. Head nurse, I want to see the pregnant woman in person and talk to her, Huamin said slowly. Okay, you can talk to her. As long as she has a conscience and is willing to let go, this will be easy. At most, we'll waive her hospitalization fees and surgery fees. I just hope that this won't continue. If the media finds out, it won't be good for the hospital. I know. Huamin's heart felt heavy. Although this was what she had expected, she still felt a little disappointed at this point. She saved people out of kindness, but she was bitten in return. It was like the story of the farmer and the snake. She didn't understand. As a mother, the pregnant woman knew that she had saved her and her child, but she wasn't grateful. Why did she have to work with her family members to blackmail her and the hospital? Was it so hard to be a good person these days? Mian, what did I tell you before? It's hard to be a good person, right? Wang Yu was also depressed. No matter what, I've never regretted saving that mother and daughter. The value of life can't be measured so easily. I'm willing to face all of this. Xiao Yu, leave this matter to me. You're just an assistant, don't get involved. I'm not afraid, senior sister. Although I don't have much ability and I'm just an intern nurse, I'll just quit. I'll definitely support you to the end and help you clear your name. I know, but I still don't want to drag you into this. I'll go to the delivery ward to see the pregnant woman first. You should hurry back to the laboratory. There has to be someone watching over there. After separating from Huang Yu, Huamin went directly to the ward where the pregnant woman was. Because of her special situation, she was arranged to be in a private ward. The environment was better and more private. After knocking on the door, Huamin walked in. The pregnant woman was playing with the baby in the crib. Her eyes were filled with the love a mother should have. However, the moment she saw Huamin, She immediately stopped smiling and the look in her eyes became complicated. Hello, I'm the one who performed the C-section on you. My name is Huamin. Can we talk? I have nothing to talk to you about. The pregnant woman turned her head away, not daring to look into Huamin's eyes. She was obviously guilty. Huamin smiled and didn't say anything. Instead, he walked gently to the crib and looked at the baby. She looked at the baby girl in the cradle. She's very cute. She looks just like you. The pregnant woman bit her lip and didn't say anything. She seemed to understand everything. It wasn't your intention to ask your brother to come to the hospital, right? Did your husband ask you to do this? How did you know? The pregnant woman looked up at Huamin in disbelief. Chapter 152. After she finished speaking, she realized her mistake and immediately corrected herself. What I meant was, how could you make such wild guesses? No one told me to do so, and I'm telling the truth. The truth? What kind of truth? Are you feeling unwell? Are you dizzy? Yes, it might be a complication after the surgery. After all, you're not a professional doctor, you're just a nurse. You used my life and my child's as an experiment. That's really despicable. Ms. Yuan Finfin, right? Medical equipment is very advanced these days. If you say that you're dizzy and have complications, we need to do a detailed examination for you. It's just like how many murderers insist that they're mentally ill after they kill someone. You can't just listen to one side of the story, you need evidence. After hearing what Huamin said, the pregnant woman fell silent. I know you're not that kind of person. As the patient involved, you should know what happened that night. You were bleeding profusely and desperately needed a blood transfusion. However, no one could operate on you at that time. Your husband knelt on the ground and begged for help. As the nurse on duty, I absolutely couldn't allow a patient to die in front of my eyes. The reason why I dared to operate on you was because I trusted my own skills. I also knew that if I did what I did at that time, there would definitely be a day like this in the future. I just didn't expect that as the patient involved, you would be so muddle-headed. I won't ask you to thank me, but I also don't want you to wrong me, understand? Do you understand? The pregnant woman seemed to be moved by Huamin's words. It was obvious that she was very conflicted. Huamin continued, I know that it's not easy for you as a woman. This is your second child, right? But your husband was very unhappy that you gave birth to a girl. Your in-laws didn't show up at the hospital either. The pregnant woman raised her head in surprise. She didn't know why Huamin's analysis was so accurate. I don't know much about your family, but from what your brother said, he kept talking about compensation. He must be using this incident to get a lot of money. I don't think your husband would do something like this alone. I heard that you guys even hired a lawyer. So, I want to ask, who instigated this behind the scenes? The pregnant woman stared at Huamin, dumbfounded. It was as if every word Huamin said touched her heart. No one instigated it. It's not like what you said. Ms. Yuan Finfin, you have to have a conscience. I don't want to say anything excessive. I just want to tell you that God is watching over you. I really don't want anything in return for saving you and your child. But now you're making a false accusation against me and my hospital. So, I think you should stop before you go too far. If you want tens of thousands of yuan in compensation, and you really need the money, I can pay you personally, but don't discredit the hospital. Our director is a very respectable old man. I don't want to cause trouble for him because of my personal heroism. Is that okay? Huamin knew that this family just wanted money. If he had to, he would have to fork out tens of thousands of yuan to settle this matter. But if it really blew up and escalated to the hospital's image, it wouldn't be good. He would feel very guilty. The pregnant woman seemed to be a little shaken. Her eyes flashed as she said, I don't want to do this, but Before she could finish her sentence, she heard the door suddenly open. Then, her husband suddenly appeared at the door and yelled at Huamin, What are you doing here? Are you here to threaten my wife? You heartless nurse, I will sue you and your hospital. You want to get rid of us with just tens of thousands of yuan? In your dreams. Even the lawyer said that this time, if your hospital doesn't fork out a few million yuan, don't even think about stopping. That night, when you knelt down and begged me to save your child, This wasn't your attitude. Huamin looked coldly at the pregnant woman's husband. Chapter 153. The man seemed a little embarrassed as he scolded, "Don't talk to me about these useless things. Anyway, get out of here and don't threaten my wife. My wife is suffering from serious complications right now. None of you can escape responsibility. So, you want to make a big deal out of this? Do you have to extort millions of dollars from us?" Huamin asked coldly. "Yes, we want the whole city to know about this." "Okay, just don't regret it." "Of course we won't regret it. Don't think that threatening us will work. We're not afraid of you. You're just a nurse who hasn't even finished her internship. I'll fight you to the death." "Okay, I'll wait for you to fight me to the death." Huamin pursed her lips and turned to leave. As soon as she left, the man grabbed the pregnant woman from the bed and slapped her across the face. "Are you fucking asshole? That woman is here. How can you talk nonsense? Aren't you afraid that she'll bring a recording pen? If all our plans go down the drain and I can't get the money, I'll fucking strangle you." The pregnant woman's husband had an ugly expression on his face. "Honey, let's just forget about it. I don't want to continue like this. I feel very uneasy. She's a good person. She saved me and our daughter. She's our savior. We shouldn't treat her like this," the pregnant woman said as she sobbed. After hearing this, the man was not moved at all. Instead, he pointed at the pregnant woman and scolded, "I'm telling you, don't ruin my business. Since things have already started, we will continue to do it. The hospital will definitely compensate us. When that time comes, we will be rich, do you understand? We'll be able to live the rest of our lives without any worries. But this kind of money shouldn't belong to us." The pregnant woman still wanted to argue. "I should have killed you, a hen that can't give birth to a boy. You disgust me. Let me tell you, you have to listen to me. If you don't cooperate, I won't come back to this house. I'll divorce you. There are plenty of women out there, and there are even more who are willing to give birth to a son for me. When the time comes, you can take these two losers and go back to your mother's house." Upon hearing that they were going to get a divorce, the woman's eyes immediately filled with fear. Ever since she had married into this family, she had never thought of getting a divorce. After all, it was too difficult for a woman. All these years, she had been doing the housework, while her husband had been working a part-time job. The salary was not high, and the family had been living a tight life. The man and his parents had a traditional mindset of valuing sons over daughters. She had been very unhappy with her first child because she had not given birth to a son. It wasn't easy for her to get pregnant with her second child. When she did the ultrasound, it said that it was a boy. She didn't expect that it would be another money-losing thing. The man was furious. If it weren't for his plan to blackmail the hospital and Huamin, he wouldn't have shown up. If he had known that his wife had given birth to another girl, he wouldn't have knelt down and begged the nurse to save her that night. Therefore, the man's heart was extremely unbalanced. After some expert gave him advice, he immediately felt that this was a good idea. Therefore, they mobilized the relatives of both parties and came to the hospital to make a scene in order to ask for a sky-high compensation. "How did it go?" the head nurse asked with concern when she saw Huamin walk out. Huamin shook his head. "They are very determined. They want the hospital to pay. Don't worry too much. Everything will be resolved when President Wu comes back," the head nurse comforted him. Huamin nodded. After he said goodbye to the head nurse, he headed towards the laboratory. The OB/GYN department had been unusually quiet lately. Apparently, Wuxia was on vacation and had not come to work for a few days. It seemed like she was extremely unhappy with her previous punishment. However, President Wu had also announced that he would be leaving. If she didn't want to work, she could resign. The uncle and niece were not on good terms. Ning Ziyuan was also cold towards her because of Huamin's rejection. Not long after Huamin returned to the laboratory, it was time to get off work. Chief Han walked over and said softly, "Huamian, you can leave through the back door after work." "What's wrong?" Huamin looked at Chief Han quizzically. Chapter 154. When I went out just now, I saw those unreasonable family members blocking the entrance. If they saw you, they would probably do something impulsive. I think it's safer for you to leave through the back door. Huamin nodded. Okay then, I'll leave through the back door. Thank you, Chief Han. No need to thank me. Don't get too worked up. The director won't sit back and do nothing. They won't get anything out of this mess. Okay. Huamin packed up and left the hospital through the back door with Huang Yu. Luckily, Chief Han had the foresight to leave through the back door. It was indeed much quieter. Huamin was depressed. After 10 minutes of walking, she returned to her home at Imperial Park. Since it was still early, there was no one at home. It seemed like Qin Chu hadn't returned yet. Huamin put down her bag and sat on the sofa tiredly. She closed her eyes and rested for a while. Then, she suddenly remembered something. She took out her phone and called Zhu Lingling. However, her phone was turned off. She nervously logged into WeChat. As soon as she logged in, she saw Zhu Lingling's message. Girl, I'm going to work. I'm flying south today. Don't worry. Seeing that Zhu Lingling was at work, Huamin felt a lot more relieved. Huamin felt a headache coming on as she thought about what happened at the hospital today. She was so lost in her thoughts that she actually forgot to make dinner. She didn't come back to her senses until Qin Chu came home and she heard the door open. You're back? I'll go make dinner. Huamin got up and walked to the kitchen as she spoke. When she walked past Qin Chu, he grabbed her hand. You don't look well. Oh, maybe it's because I was a little busy today. I'm tired, Huamin said half-heartedly. Then don't make dinner. Let's go out and eat. I don't have much of an appetite. Why don't you go alone? I'm not hungry either. Then don't make dinner. Let's rest for a while. Before Huamin could say anything, Qin Chu pulled her to the side of the sofa and let her sit on the sofa. Then, Qin Chu took an apple from the fridge for Huamin, turned on the TV, and casually changed the channel. After that, Qin Chu took off his suit jacket and put it aside. Then he took out his laptop and started working. Huamin was not in the mood to eat. He took the apple that Qin Chu stuffed into his mouth and watched the TV in boredom. Neither of them spoke. Qin Chu had been focusing on the company's financial statements and the stock market. Huamin quietly held an apple and stared at the TV. Just like that, time passed by quietly. Huamin occasionally turned his head and looked at Qin Chu's perfect side profile. His heart felt warm. She really liked and enjoyed this kind of company. However, she always felt a sense of crisis about this relationship. She always felt that they would not be able to grow old together. It was as if the tragedy 7 years ago had destined their relationship to carry too many burdens. Perhaps Qin Chu knew that Huamin was staring at him, so he suddenly turned his head and looked into Huamin's eyes. He asked, "Is the TV good?" "You'll know when you see it." Qin Chu looked up and suddenly felt embarrassed. It turned out that the TV show was actually Boonie Bears. "If you don't like it, you can change the channel," he said. "It's okay. I like it." After hearing Huamin's answer, Qin Chu was speechless again. Fine. He really found it hard to believe that someone with an IQ of 130 would actually watch children's cartoons. Then, Qin Chu worked for about an hour before closing his laptop. Looking at Huamin, who looked a little haggard, he thought for a moment and asked, "Do you want to go on vacation with me?" "Vacation?" Huamin looked confused. Chapter 155. I have to go on a business trip to Taipei. My flight is tomorrow night. Do you want to come with me? I don't think so. I have to go to work. Ask for leave. I'll be back in 2 or 3 days. No, I'm not in the mood. I can't have fun anywhere. Huamin shook her head and decided not to be a wet blanket. Things had just gotten out of control at the hospital. If she asked for leave and ran away, what would she do if those people went to the OB/GYN department to cause trouble, or if they went to Huang Yu? She couldn't leave them with a mess to clean up. Seeing that Huamin wasn't willing, Qin Chu didn't force her. He looked down at his watch. It was almost 8 p.m. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat something? Huamin shook her head. Did something happen at the hospital? Qin Chu couldn't help but ask upon sensing Huamin's depression. Nothing, maybe I'm not used to being in a new department. Huamin didn't tell Qin Chu everything that happened at the hospital, because she didn't want Qin Chu to worry about her. It was tiring enough for him to work at GK every day. Okay then, go to bed early, I'm going to go organize some documents in the study. Huamin went upstairs, took a shower, and then lay in bed. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number, and it rang for a while before Huamin picked it up. Are you Huamin? A man's voice sounded from the other end, and Huamin thought it sounded familiar. Yes, I am. Who are you? I'm Lin Mingyu. Lin Mingyu? Huamin was a bit confused, and she forgot who Lin Mingyu was. I'm the forensic doctor who went on a blind date with you last time, he emphasized. Oh, it's you. Huamin finally remembered this man. What are you doing? Lin Mingyu asked out of the blue. I'm going to bed. So early? I wanted to invite you out for a meal. Lin Mingyu was slightly disappointed. No, thank you for your kindness. Then, what's your WeChat ID? Can I add you? Lin Mingyu asked again. I don't really use WeChat, Huamin rejected again. I see. All right, let's meet again another day. Then he hung up. Huamin remembered that he had never given him his phone number. She probably got it from the head nurse. There were already a lot of things to do in the hospital. How could they still care about other people? The next morning, Qin Chu had already prepared bread and warm milk. However, he was nowhere to be seen. After Huamin woke up, he took a simple bite and went to work. As soon as she arrived at the department, she was pulled aside by Huang Yu, who whispered, "Senior, our director is back. Isn't the director out of town for a meeting?" Huamin was confused. Yeah, but he heard that something happened at the hospital, so he came back early. I heard that he will meet with the patient's family today to discuss how to deal with the situation. Hearing this, Huamin felt a little guilty. If it weren't for her decision, the hospital and President Wu wouldn't have been in so much trouble. At noon, when Huamin and Huang Yu went to the cafeteria, they inevitably became the target of other colleagues at the hospital. Here, she also met an enemy, Wu Xiaoxue. Egomaniac, look at what happened. The entire hospital is in an uproar because of you. My uncle's meeting out of town was cancelled early because he had to clean up your mess. Wu Xiaoxue was sharp-tongued. She was furious when she saw Huamin. I'm very sorry about this, Huamin said calmly. What's the point of saying sorry now? You shouldn't have done it in the first place. I don't understand. You're a nurse who hasn't even completed your internship. Who gave you the guts to do this? Do you think the hospital is owned by your family? Chapter 156. Professor Wu, you can't say that. We were just anxious to save people, Huang Yu retorted. Even if you were anxious to save people, you should know your place. Don't you know your own status? Isn't it because you, an unreliable doctor on duty, skipped work in the middle of the night? Otherwise, do you think we were willing to take the risk to save people? Huang Yu was young and impulsive. She was not as calm as Huamin, so she started to argue with Wu Xiaoxue. The key was that Huang Yu was now in the laboratory, so she was not afraid of Wu Xiaoxue making things difficult for her. What do you mean by skipping work? I was not feeling well. I am pregnant. Do you know that? I'm a pregnant woman, and I have to be responsible for my own safety. I didn't do anything wrong, and the patient's family won't be able to find me. They can find whoever performed the surgery. You're so capable, so it's best for you to solve the problem you created. Don't hide behind the hospital like a coward and let my old uncle be your cannon fodder, okay? Wu Xiaoxue mocked. Don't worry. As long as it is my responsibility, I will not implicate the director. That's the best. After that, Wu Xiaoxue raised her head and walked past Huamin arrogantly. Damn, this woman is really good at finding excuses. She just got pregnant and she said she was not feeling well. Skipping work is skipping work, and she is still looking for excuses. How can such an irresponsible person be a doctor? I really have to hand it to her. Since she is so delicate, she should just go home and rest. Why is she still working? Huang Yu was furious. Let her say whatever she wants. No matter what she says, I will not mind. Because she is someone I don't care about. Huamin was very clear about this. It was not worthwhile to be angry with someone like Wu Xiaoxue every day. Huamin was restless the whole morning. He did not know how the director would deal with it. In fact, if the director fired him, he would not mind. After all, he was wrong. She was afraid that she would implicate the hospital because of her personal behavior. If the hospital really compensated her with a few million yuan, she would feel very guilty. Director Han, is there any news? What should we do? Huamin kept asking the department head. How would we know about this? The director is in direct contact with the patient. In the afternoon, the head nurse made an internal call to Huamin. After briefly explaining the outcome of the matter, the hospital director met with the patient and the patient's family. There was no agreement. The director meant that the patient's surgery was a success and there was no infection at all. It was wrong for Huamin to operate on her own as a nurse, but she was also eager to save people. Therefore, the hospital decided to waive all the fees for the patient during the hospitalization period and give the patient 30,000 yuan as mental damage. Unexpectedly, the pregnant woman's husband exploded on the spot. Not only did he yell at the director, he even flipped over the table. It was impossible to dismiss them with just a few tens of thousands of yuan. It had to be at least 3 million yuan, not a cent less. In the end, the hospital director said, "Then let's go through legal procedures. You can sue, and we will find someone to verify whether the patient is really infected. Whether from a moral point of view or a medical point of view, we will accompany you to the end. As long as the court awards us compensation, we are willing to take it." In the end, both sides fell through. In the end, the head nurse comforted, "The director has already consulted with our hospital's legal team. Even if we compensate, it won't be too much. The patient's family is obviously trying to blackmail us. We won't compromise. Don't worry. Head nurse, I'll resign. Tell the director to fire me. If the patient sues, let them sue me. I don't want to implicate the hospital," Huamin said calmly. As a century-old hospital, the first hospital had an excellent reputation and was deeply trusted by the local people. Huamin did not want everyone to know about this matter and ruin the hospital's reputation. Chapter 157. That won't happen. The dean will make the decision on this matter. I'm calling you to reassure you and not let your imagination run wild. Thank you, head nurse. Oh right, did my cousin call you? Last night, he anxiously asked for your phone number. I already told him that you have a boyfriend, but he didn't seem to care. He did, Huamin admitted. Then just treat him as a normal friend. Did that guy fall for someone? He used to be so arrogant. The head nurse sighed. Okay. After hanging up the phone, Huamin's emotions became even more complicated. It was understandable that the hospital director and the patient's family broke down. After all, the family's goal was very clear. They asked for a few million at once. The hospital didn't do anything wrong, so they wouldn't agree to pay so much money. Most importantly, Huamin performed a perfect surgery on the patient. He even found the best obstetrician in the country. They wouldn't think that it was a medical accident and there wouldn't be any adverse reactions. The patient kept saying that she was dizzy, but she did it on purpose. Sometimes, it was really a headache to reason with unreasonable people. Huamin. Hearing someone call him, Huamin turned around. Chief Han. The hospital director just called and asked you and Huang Yu to avoid the patient's family for a few days. You can take a few days off and come back to work after this incident calms down a bit. Okay. Huamin nodded. Then, Huamin and Huang Yu began to pack their things. Cursing sounds came from not far away. The hospital security seemed to be in conflict with the patient's family again. They even alerted the 110. Huamin and Huang Yu left the hospital through the back door. Huamin didn't go home. Instead, he went to school to find his brother, Jing Jixin. At noon, Huamin and Jing Jixin found a quiet place in the university cafeteria and sat down. Sis, don't you have to go to work today? Jing Jixin saw his sister and was especially close to her. Yes, I haven't been too busy recently, so I took a few days off. Really, that's great. Jing Jixin never doubted his sister's words. Looking at his younger brother's innocent smile, Huamin felt relieved. It's Mom's birthday tomorrow, so you can go there earlier. Why don't you come home with me tonight? Huamin shook his head. No, Mom will be in a bad mood if I go back. Actually, that's not it. Mom misses you very much too. She just doesn't say it out loud. She actually has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. For example, yesterday when I said that you would go back to her birthday party, she didn't say anything, but she seemed quite happy. Huamin smiled and said nothing. Sis, I have an idea. What thoughts? I want to sell milk tea with my classmates at school. The milk tea at school is disgusting and expensive, so many of my classmates go out to buy it. However, it's inconvenient, and it's a waste of time. I think I can sell it for cheap and it tastes good. Then, I can make some money and pay for next year's tuition. I don't want you to work so hard to support my studies, Jing Jixin said in one breath. Huamin's heart suddenly ached. It's not hard for me. I don't need money right now, so don't worry. You're still a student, so don't open a milk tea shop. Just study hard. When you're in your senior year, I plan to send you abroad for further studies. Huh? No, it's too expensive abroad. You and Mom have worked hard to support me all these years. I'm a man, so I'll work and support the family after I graduate. I don't want to drag you guys down. That won't happen. Anyways, don't worry about money, I'll take care of it. It's Mom's birthday tomorrow. Have you thought about what to buy? Jing Jixin asked excitedly. Not yet, what about you? I used the pocket money you gave me to buy Mom a pair of leather shoes. Look, don't they look old-fashioned? Jing Jixin turned on his phone, opened a website, and showed it to his sister. They look pretty good. They're only 300 yuan, Mom will definitely like them. Yeah, I think so too. If you don't have anything else to buy, you can just order a birthday cake for her, Jing Jixin suggested. Huamin nodded. I'll see. After leaving school, on his way home, Huamin received a special phone call. The woman on the other end of the phone was serious and elegant. She said, Huamin, this is Jiang Hong. Can I meet with you? Jiang Hong? His heartless biological father's legal wife, the socialite of Sea City's prestigious Jiang family. Hua Xiqian's crazy foster mother? Huamin suddenly felt conflicted. Chapter 158. Don't be afraid, I don't mean any harm. I'm not like Xinjiani. Jiang Hong was afraid that Huamin would be worried, so she added another sentence. Okay, where shall we meet? How about this, I'll send a car to pick you up. Jiang Hong was very cautious. She didn't tell him the location, but instead asked the driver to pick Huamin up. Huamin waited for less than 10 minutes before a black Mercedes-Benz slowly stopped in front of her. Then, the driver pulled her to a high-end women's club in the development zone. Huamin looked up. She knew a little about this club. Apparently, it was a place where rich madams gathered. Normal people had no right to enter. It was rumored that the club was owned by Mrs. Hua. Today, it seemed that the rumors were true. Because Jiang Hong was Hua Xiqian's foster mother, Huamin was extra careful. In her mind, she always felt that the mother and son were not to be trifled with. In comparison, the scheming Xinjiani and Hua Yanyan were much easier to deal with. She took the elevator to the 8th floor. In the innermost room, Huamin saw Jiang Hong. She was over 50 years old, but she took good care of herself. Her skin was very supple, and she wore a dark red cheongsam with dazzling pink diamonds on her wrist. Apparently, Jiang Hong and Hua Zhenghai got married because of business. Over the years, Hua Zhenghai had been involved in countless scandals and had many illegitimate children. In the end, he didn't divorce his wife. However, the fact that Xinjiani could marry into this family was quite impressive. Huamin, you're here. Have a seat, Jiang Hong said elegantly with a faint smile on her face. Huamin couldn't tell whether her smile was friendly or hostile, because this woman hid it too well. Huamin was very cautious as she carefully sat down. What would you like to drink? Jiang Hong asked. Plain water. You're a very down-to-earth child. Jiang Hong smiled and waved her hand. After a while, the waiter poured a glass of water and placed it in front of Huamin. However, Huamin had no intention of drinking it. Huamin asked for plain water out of respect for Jiang Hong, but it was up to him whether he wanted to drink it or not. All these years, she had never allowed herself to drink things given to her by people she didn't trust. This was called self-protection. Jiang Hong understood what she meant and did not force her. Instead, she took the initiative to ask, I heard that you're a nurse at the first hospital. Are you used to it? Jiang Hong asked again. Yes, I quite like this job. Have you ever thought about coming back to this home? Jiang Hong picked up a glass of red wine and asked casually. I've never thought about it, Huamin replied firmly. Are you serious? You're quite special. What's wrong with coming back? I think you can at least have money and live a better life than you do now. When the time comes, you can even become a doctor, let alone a nurse. There's a way. Yes, it's good to have money. It can satisfy a lot of desires, but it's not that easy to get money. I don't think I have to have a share of the Hua family's fortune. Even if my surname is Hua, it doesn't mean I can't do anything. Plus, Mr. Hua didn't acknowledge my identity back then. Are you mad at him? Jiang Hong smiled as she looked at Huamin. She suddenly thought that this girl was quite interesting. No wonder her son always talked about this girl. I used to hate him when I was young, Huamin answered honestly. What about now? Jiang Hong asked with a smile. You're tuning in to the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.